Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Far Off Films, the number one anime podcast in the world. It is I, Sunny from Crockett Jong-un Productions. That wasn't one of my better ones, but I'm very tired. So, who else is here with me today?
I'm Colin Farrell from Colin Farrell Man. that was a great
All
one.
right, great.
You better fall asleep.
And I'm
Yes.
Loopy Doopy, and will you take a picture of me if I... And we have a special guest today!
What? Was that a reference
So-
to... Okay, Jesus. Yeah, and if you might have heard from the laughter,
sorry.
Jack's back.
Jack is back.
Attack.
Can't get rid of me.
Jack. Yeah, you can't get rid of him. He's like the common cold. Once you have it,
That's it.
you just won't get out of
in
bed.
your ecosystem now. I'm in your blood. I'm in your bloodstream.
Yeah.
No man of immune.
Yeah, reintroduce yourself,
Oh,
Jack, for
I'm-
those listeners who
There's
aren't
been
familiar with you. Yeah.
more that you can self-promote now, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, you can even self-promote yourself even more
Oh,
now because
yeah.
So,
Do I give myself a funny name?
If you want to.
if you want, you might as well.
I'm
yeah.
Mojito Monkey Man Jack, who's fighting the Civil War. I guess you could say.
See, that was the best one.
Was it?
That was the best
Mine
one. I
was
really
good if
wish.
you
I really
understood
wish
the
one of us
reference.
like. Came
I
up with
think
something.
everyone's was pretty good. I just threw that together.
You know what you should have said?
But thank you.
You should have said, I'm the Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest tagline, because Jack is back.
Oh, there we go.
yeah.
I like
There we
that.
go.
All right, wait. Fucking cut the recording. We'll go from the start. Roll from the top.
Run it back, run it back.
Run it
We'll just
back,
start
run it
this
back.
over.
We got it,
Yeah.
we got it.
Well, we're gonna start this recording all
We
over
got- we
again. Yeah. Just for that one single
yeah,
joke.
Yeah. No, I'm Jack. Hello, everybody. I was on here a year ago, and we talked Megan, that movie. And what else did we talk about? We talked about some anime
Tradition Kai.
movies. That was really good. Yes, it was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some stuff to plug later at the end, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Okay.
Shamelessly promote
saving
my
best for
fucking
last.
greed and my But
We'll
anyway,
save that to the end. We won't have any
Yeah.
intermissions.
well, I'm
Until
just giving.
then.
You got to listen to the end now to listen to. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, you won't hear you won't hear this self promotion in the middle section. If you know what I
Oh,
mean.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop out the
Yeah.
call and I'll come back in the call in about 2 hours time and just shamelessly promote myself and then I'll fuck off again.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any
that-
of the
that-
movies.
Jack doesn't watch movies in general. He
Nah.
just came in just for this bit, and then he'll leave afterwards.
I just wanted to see how all three of you were going, and then I was leaving.
Well,
No, but thank you so
All
much.
of
In all
us are-
all jokes aside, I very much, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm very appreciative that you lot have had me back.
Yeah.
yeah, we
we
can
love
really
you,
hear
Jack.
it from your voice. So. Yeah,
The
we love
only-
you, Jack.
the
Fucking
only
can't
person
escape
who's-
these three.
The only person who's ever defended me about Bunnings sausages.
Jules, forever and ever, my friend, always.
Yep. Forever and ever.
Fight till the bitter end.
Mm.
Yep.
You guys, it's like that one scene from Return of the King. It's like I never thought I would fight side by side
With a Gold
with a
Coast
short
person.
What about side by side with a what about side by side with a budding
Yeah.
sausage
Yeah,
person?
actually-
I could live with that.
If I can quickly, before we actually start talking about the movie, Jules, I was at a Bunnings literally last week. No sausages. I don't know what's going on. What's happening to the
What the
country?
fuck? Jesus
I
Christ,
almost
this country.
had to speak to the manager.
Yeah.
I was like, "What kind of fucking operation are you running here?" And I was
This
slamming my
country's
fist down on the desk.
on the decline, it seems.
Like, no wonder this country has gone to shit.
Yeah. Jesus
And I
Christ.
vomited on myself.
Make Australia great again. That's your slogan for
What were you
when
there to buy
clean
though?
this
Because
country.
no one goes to Bunnings except for the sausages.
Well, I heard I was at work and one of my co-workers was. This is the most boring story ever. Please cut this. They had a drink bottle and I was like, "That's a cool drink
Just
bottle."
for
Where'd-"
that, I'm not going to cut it.
I was like, "That's a cool drink bottle. Where'd you get that?" And they're like, "Bunnings, of course." And I went, "Okay, I'm gonna go to Bunnings after work," and that's the story. And then I almost tripped over in Bunnings and killed myself because it was the floor was very slippery. Anyway, I'm literally just babbling on now, so we have to start talking about the movies before I
almost died recently.
Really?
Tell what happened. Are you okay?
Please.
Anyways, let's talk about movies now.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You're really gonna
Yeah.
blue ball us like that.
That was an
alright,
incredible
okay.
cliffhanger.
No,
I was ready for some epic tale.
I was like in like nearly a really bad car accident. Like,
Damn.
Jesus.
yeah, like I had to swerve, and if I didn't swerve, then I would be probably very injured right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
The closest I've ever come to
Well,
death
it's
as
good
well
to know
was,
that you're okay.
was outside of Bunnings, coincidentally.
They're death traps, dude. They're absolute death traps.
Yeah. You gotta risk it for the sausages. That's why they're so
to get
good.
into Bunnings is
No,
to get into Bunnings is like the trials from the Last Crusade. You got to go through some booby traps.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
get that sweet.
Gotta almost get run over
There's
by
a dying
truck.
Sean Connery
Yeah.
at the entry of every
Yeah.
Bunnings. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I have like one very bad near-death experience like every single year. Like the world just tries to pounce on me. It's like my final destination. Like it, like
I was gonna say,
and,
that sounds-
like, I keep resetting the clock because it keeps coming back every single year. Like there's always
Cheating death.
one thing. There's always one
that's so
really
funny.
awful thing where like if one small little stone was like turned in the right way, I would be gone. Okay, so I don't know if that's a good
That's
omen
insane.
about myself or a bad omen about myself.
I think if anything, if we're going to learn anything from this recording, we have to keep a closer eye on Luca, because I think Luca, his time's running out. We got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
one time you'll
Yeah,
start
we gotta put, like,
recording,
body
and then,
ar-
like, I'll
We
just
got to
not
put
be-
like body armor on Luca.
Poor Luca.
Just make sure she never goes
No,
outside
I don't
whatsoever.
No, Luca, please don't go anywhere.
No, I'm gonna be fine. If the world's trying to kill me this many times and can't do it, then like it's just really bad and I will live forever. That's my mentality.
Well, I
Maybe it's
I-
waiting till I come over there, then
I
it's gonna try and
unfortunately
get us
can't.
both.
Jules, it will not get us both. Like our
It'll
power
try,
will
though.
be too strong.
I don't think.
And also, the only thing we'll do is sit inside and like watch movies. So. No, I'm joking.
I mean, that's what you guys do most of the time anyway, right? Just sit inside and watch movies.
Yes.
More than I would care to
Yeah,
admit.
so-
Yeah, Jules is like on 3
I
a
mean,
day
we
now.
wouldn't ha-
Jules is on the grind set. Jules is on the
No, I'm not. I only watched one today.
unemployed pride
No,
flag.
yeah, like you literally watch like at least 2 to 3. I don't know how you have time for. I barely have time to watch like one, like maybe every couple days.
Okay, I watched.
So and even
Okay,
then,
let's
it's
whip
like
out
guess-
the receipts.
Yeah, go on.
yeah. Like
Okay,
yeah, let's check
okay.
out your letterbox for a
the
second.
past 4
yeah.
days, it was only one a day. Okay, but on the 17th, you watched 4 movies. On the 16th, you watched 3 movies.
On the 17th though, that was
Only 3 movies, Jules. You got to pick up your game.
Yeah.
That's weak numbers,
Well,
man.
Yeah,
3
on
on the
numbers a day. What are you
17th.
doing?
I
Yeah, on the
watched.
17th you
I
saw-
watched like an.
You saw 4
No, I
movies.
didn't. One of them's a short film, by the way.
Yeah, it does. It says so in your diary. Okay,
And then,
well, that
and then
still
one of them was,
counts.
and
Yeah.
then 2 of them were at the Cinematheque. So I saw them as a double
No,
feature.
but you shouldn't be embarrassed about what. Like, at least you're doing something productive, you know. Like.
No, while we're at it, pull up Timmy's and Luca's. I want to see his and hers.
Yeah,
Long-
you're not
long
grinding
story.
as much as me.
Mine's embarrassing.
I barely
I'm
watch
not on
it.
the grind set. Mine's
Yeah, I-
embarrassing.
Yeah, I suppose to be fair, I am
I wish I
mostly
had as
watching
much time as
2
Jules to
a
watch
day
movies.
usually.
Oh, have any of you? Because I know Luca and Jules are a big fan of what's his face. Have you two seen Challenges yet?
I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Oh man,
It's only coming out in
Guadagnino.
like a week for me, or maybe 2 weeks.
yeah.
Is it not out in the
I
US,
told this
Timmy?
to
I read
Jules
that today.
Yeah, Timmy, you can go see it.
I mean, not this week, because so
Oh, we get it early?
our another guest that we had on the podcast, Mikey, he attended the premiere of Challengers in LA or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that. That's why
you
he
showed
got
me
to see it
pictures of
early.
yeah.
So I wouldn't I don't know when it's coming. I think it might be coming like next week
Oh,
or the week
hell
after
yeah, we
or
get
something.
Australia
I'll watch it, you know,
wins.
because I actually, believe it or not,
Yeah, we got it.
believe it or not, I actually do like this director too.
Yeah, we got it
So-
weirdly early. Like
We
we got
got
it
it
like
a
a week
whole
and a half
week
early or
early.
something.
Yeah, you
It was
guys
bizarre.
are
Be-
damn.
How come we're not
Because I was
getting this
looking at the
treatment for
challenges
Mad
thing on
Max?
Letterboxd.
That's releasing only one day early. Why can't we get that a week early so we can flex? He's our boy.
Yeah, we should
after all.
we should have had that. We should have had that last month, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
Challengers
exactly.
is coming out on Thursday for me, so okay, I guess it's coming sooner than I
It's
thought. Yeah, I'll
pretty
watch it.
fucking fantastic.
I'm so looking
that-
forward to it.
Oh, you've already seen
Oh
it?
yeah.
I'm so
Yeah,
hyped
it's-
for it.
Okay.
'Cause
No,
obviously-
Luca, you will love
Yeah.
it.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
my favorite director. He's my favorite
Yeah. I was
director.
thinking,
So,
I was thinking about you two while watching. I'm like, damn, Luca and Jules are gonna fucking love this.
Australia
Yep.
just like weirdly gets some movies like before the States. Like I remember like Jules like got to see like How Do You Live Before Me, and I was just like, you fucking asshole! Like you can't.
Didn't
you're
I
not
only
allowed
see
to
it
We
by,
also
like-
get some
dick.
shit extremely
What are you
late
talking?
too.
I didn't see it before you. I saw it on the day we recorded it, the episode.
Oh, did okay? Then I must.
I came back
alright,
from
then
the
that
movie
must
and
have been-
recorded the episode
Wait, I think it must have
immediately.
been a different anime. Okay, I think it must have been Suzume then, right? Like it was an anime movie. I was
Maybe.
excited for that you got to see before me. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Well, most of
maybe,
the
I
time
don't know, I
Australia's
don't
pretty
remember.
bad with that
So-
shit. This is like a rare exception to
Is
the
the
rule.
weeb community not very high in
Yeah,
in
not
Australia?
I
Or
think our prime minister's a weeb.
Albanese.
I don't know.
that
Albanese.
sucks. Sorry.
Our
My
big
principal
elbow.
is a weeb.
Really?
Are you serious?
Like
Oh,
my
really?
principal, like you walk into his office and he has like a one-piece mouse pad. Like, like
That's kind of
Like,
epic. Yeah.
He-
That's actually
one of the
that goes
best
so
I get
things
hard.
he
it.
told us was that he is like One Piece is one of his favorite anime. Like,
I don't really, I'm not a big fan of the anime, but the manga, like, you should, if you want to experience One Piece for the first time, you should read the manga. The manga is, like, the best way to experience it, and it's incredible. It is, like, the manga is, like, over, like 1,000 chapters long, and it's still going strong. Like, it's still, like, pumping out banger of chapters. Like, I don't know how that's possible. Like, and Oda's been doing this for, like, 20 years, I think, at this point. It's like, I wish I cared about anything for that long as Oda cares about.
He's just on
One
autopilot
Piece.
now, surely.
Yeah.
He just, like, pumps them out without even, like, thinking.
You'd think, yeah, but like he's still pumping out like some of the best stuff are in these like more recent chapters, at least from what I understand. I'm only around like chapter like 150, and I'm not even close
I'm
to
not
like the
up to
time
date with
skip
it,
yet.
yeah.
That doesn't happen. Yeah, that doesn't happen until like around like chapters 200-ish, 300-ish. I don't remember. So
Chapter 1 million, I think, where it really
where it
kicks
gets
into
good.
gear.
it really hits its stride. Yeah. So,
Really found his footing around chapter 600.
guys, trust me, One Piece gets
Mm-hmm.
really good after episode 642. Guys, trust. Like,
You just got to
One
give it
Piece
a
is
chance.
good from like the beginning.
You just
It just becomes great, like later on.
just give it a chance.
Yeah,
just
no,
wait
but I
it out
hate
until
that
700.
I fucking hate that mentality though, because like that's the reason why I could never get into something like My Hero Academia, because like the fandom just won't. The My Hero Academia fandom
Terrible.
is like the M Night fandom. They're just like desperately clinging to this idea that their thing is really great, but then they don't realize their thing is stupid, and they throw a hissy fit every
mean,
time
that's kind of
someone
like
says
all
it's
that-
stupid.
I know
It's
from
like it's
experience.
not.
Like-
you know?
I know one of
I
my
guess
friends
that
is My Hero Academia fan.
Yeah, like it's just I tried watching it. I willingly sat through like 2.5 seasons. Like I just can't deal with this shit anymore. Like I don't get what people like about this. And it's like we're on season 6 and people are still saying no. It gets better as the show goes along. It's like you can't say that after 6 seasons. It's been
That's
6
fucked up.
seasons.
Who's
like
saying that?
Surprising amount of people.
I think
My
with-
Hero
I
Academia.
That's
think with-
insane.
I think with shows like
Yeah.
the only pass is like a few episodes. If it takes a whole entire season for something to get good, then it's just not. Then it's just not.
No,
worth
Luke is
it.
completely right. You got to
Like-
give it. You got to give it a 2 to 3 episode grace period.
Yeah.
If it's dog shit, let it go.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
starting, yeah.
I will say
complete-
there is some exceptions
Twin
to that.
Peaks
Like
season
the
2.
first season of say something like The Office is like awful. Like the first season of The Office is awful, but then like it really like just peaks with the seasons 2 through whenever Michael leaves at some point in the show. Spoilers for The Office, I
Damn
guess.
it.
But
God damn it!
Yeah,
I was about to
damn it,
start
yeah,
laughing.
Steve Carell leaves at some point. It's really
Oh no.
yeah. No, but Parks and Rec was also the same thing too, because the first season of Parks and Rec isn't very good, but then like after that first season, it just becomes a banger show.
Well,
Yeah,
like the
but
only experience
that's
I've
just
had
my
with this
opinion.
is like the first few episodes of BoJack aren't the greatest, and they're still like good TV, but like compared to the rest of the show. But that's like the only experience like that I've ever
Okay.
had with something like this.
Did you guys feel that way about Ava? Like, did you guys feel like the first couple episodes of Ava wasn't very strong, but then like it got like better and better or something like that?
I
Okay,
like the
yeah.
first few episodes of Ava because it made the ending where they like make fun of that shit a lot more satisfying.
Which ending? The TV
The
ending or
TV
end of Ava?
ending.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's there's the
Yeah,
period
that-
in
that's-
Twin Peaks season 2 where it kind of like after a certain point it just kind of just after Lynch left for a little bit, where it kind of becomes like a bit ass, but it's like a kind of like a slow shift into like where you get like 2-3 episodes that are like really bad, and then it kind of picks up again and has like an amazing ending. So that one's like it's not too bad, but then it's like there's a little period where it's like, oh fuck, this sucks.
Fuck, Lynch, come back, please.
You know what has all banger episodes? The Venture Brothers.
Hell
Oh.
yeah, Luca.
Jesus.
Damn, you guys will never
Yeah.
live this.
No, this is what I mean,
joy.
Luca.
You will never live this joy of the Venture Brothers.
She just fucking gets it. This is it.
Have you seen the Venture Brothers?
I've seen bits and parts, and from what I've seen, I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
Okay.
Does Gumball have any bad
I get
episodes?
it.
do you
That's one
guys
of those
think?
ones. That's
What?
hey.
Gumball.
Do you think Gumball has any
Sorry,
bad episodes?
Gumball's like consistently
I think
a banger.
Gumball, like first
It has a-
2 seasons, like they're not bad, but it's a bit more childish. But then like season 3 onwards is like just perfect.
Yeah, season 1 has like a few
I feel like
episodes
even
that
the
are- that are,
first
like,
two
a bit
seasons, like
mixed.
It's just because
the first season they're obviously
They were still
still
finding their feet.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were still trying to like find their footing, like trying to find their voice. And I think by season 2, season 3, they like really figured out because like once like Gumball becomes like almost becomes like what SpongeBob originally was, which is this like crazy, just like we're just gonna do whatever we want. We're gonna be meta as possible type series. It becomes incredible. Like I think Gumball, like, is probably one of the best things Cartoon Network has ever produced. Like it's that era of Cartoon Network was just like the golden age. It was like Adventure Time, Gumball, regular show. It was just like, damn, we are never getting another like holy trinity like this ever
Yeah,
again.
that really was the peak.
And regular show, regular show is like a show I absolutely love. But even I can admit, like the first season was just kind of, this feels like an Adult Swim show that like got reduced to Cartoon Network, and so they had to remove all like the swearing and like any like allusions to adult stuff. But by like season 2 or 3, they really found like their perfect tempo. It was really good. So anyway, I guess movies. We should talk about movies
Yes.
because
What? What's
Luca
that?
needs to go see Miyazaki. Yeah,
How did we
what's
end up
that?
talking
Yeah,
about
so
TV shows, guys? What the heck?
it's not just TV, anime. Ew. Yeah, we talked about My Hero. Yeah. So, you guys want to just get Monkey Man out of the way? So me and Luca haven't seen it. I wanted to, but I got
Okay.
busy. So Jules and Jack, if you guys want
I
to
have
briefly
a-
talk
Jules
about
Jules
it,
and I
go
will
ahead.
briefly go monkey mode.
I have a question about Monkey Man.
Please.
Is there an army of trans women, or is that a lie?
Wait, what is this? I didn't
Is it
know
real or
about
is
this.
it
Neither did I,
fake?
and I've seen the movie.
It's the group of people,
Is there
Jack,
enough-
that come to help him in the club and that rescue him.
Oh, okay.
They're all
But-
trans
Okay,
women.
that's sort of cool.
Okay, then I'm gonna watch
I
it.
do not remember this.
Damn, I can't believe Monkey Man went woke. Bad.
Okay, if that's all
Now
I
it's
have
back.
to add about Monkey Man, you guys go.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it was awesome.
So, so you really liked it?
I did have a good time with it. Although to be honest, I think I did.
Yeah, see,
my rating
yeah.
was a bit like I think I was a bit too high off the high energy of just coming out of it. I'd probably lower it to like a 7.
So what?
I was gonna say
yeah.
you gave it an 8 or something, right?
What initial score did you give
Okay,
it?
yeah.
See, I thought I spoke briefly with Timmy about this a couple days before I saw it. When the trailer came out, it did nothing for me because I'm like, oh, okay, John Wick. Yeah, we all know what John Wick is, and like I am sick to death of like every action movie nowadays replicating that. There are sporadic few ones that have come out where they've done something different. I think Timmy and I, even on when I had him on my podcast, we talked about like they need to branch out and do new stuff, and like we talked about movies like Crank and that type of action film.
Raid.
The Raid, yeah, of course. Well, the Raid was the actual topical one we talked about.
We were mentioning how like the Raid like genuinely ruined like our love.
That's where it came
for John
Wick,
because we were like
we did talk about John Wick a lot, yeah. And I sort of unfortunately went in with a mindset of going, okay, this is going to be like a John Wick cover, and parts of it, I don't know, Jules, if you'll agree, but parts of it definitely do. But I think it does enough where...
Yeah.
Sorry, it does enough different where it just skims by on being sort of a standalone thing.
I like when they name drop
a little too much sort of... Yeah, that annoyed the fuck out of me. A little too many, like, sort of, like, clean choreography, like, spinning camera around with, like, neon lights from, like, oh, I've seen this. Like, it just annoyed me, if anything. I loved sporadically really enjoy parts.
Yeah, I loved, like, the kind of, like, the first fight. That was, like, the way the camera was, like, so out of control in that. There was almost, like, the answer to, like, if, like, Jasper Noé ever made, like, an action film. Like, the way, all the handheld and stuff, which usually annoys me, but I was like, oh, my fucking God, this is, like... Because I loved, like, I think the best thing about it for me was, like, the kind of the grittiness and the grunginess. Like, I was reading interviews where he said, like, they filmed on iPhones and stuff sometimes, and I was like, I do very much admire that kind of just, like, very, very practical, like, getting your hands in the mud kind of filmmaking. And I thought that was really self-evident in the film, in those fight scenes.
Yeah, all that stuff was great. The utilizing of, like, different... Like, there's so many different sort of... It's a great movie to use a lot of good different location work where, there's... Well, it's been a little while since I've seen it. So there's a whole action sequence in like a strip club or something, and in a club, and there's one at like
onto the
fine
street
dining
and into
restaurant,
a chase,
which is really fun. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's like a really cool car chase at one point. Unfortunately, I don't remember a lot because I didn't get a lot out of it, and I was sort of shitting myself going into this recording going, fuck, I've completely forgotten like 70% of
I mean, it kind of goes to show like the quality of the movie then if you barely remember like much of the film at all.
Yeah, and I really did wish I got more out of it because the majority seems to have really loved this, and I was hoping, I was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong, but for me, I think my cynical brain was just going into it too much, going, fuck me, this is just going to be another John Wick. And although I was, like, half proven wrong, because, like, Jules and I just... Yeah, they do some stuff different, but they name drop John Wick. At one point, he gets a dog. I'm like, come on. We've seen this. It's another.
I like what they did with the dog.
Say the name John Wick.
They reference John.
They name drop. There's a bit where he goes into like a gun shop and buys a gun, and the guy brings out like one. He's like, this is the one from. It's like a John Wick.
He's like, do you like John Wick? And I'm like, fuck off.
It's the one from the movie. He says.
It's so annoying.
I'm sure they were they at least like cheeky about it. They were like, yeah, we know this is kind of like John Wick, you know, and we're acknowledging it. Is it like that? Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, like. Dave Patel too, who is like, I think he's just one of the, like, a really outstanding sort of modern actor, and like he directed this one, right?
He did, yeah, and he wrote it as well.
I believe so.
And I think he does a pretty good job, like, behind the camera. Like, he definitely knows how to shoot and like compose a compelling action sequence.
Oh, definitely.
But for me, it was just like a little bit too familiar, where I didn't get too much out of it.
I've been told the action scenes in this movie has like a lot of shaky cam. Does this become like a Paul Greengrass, Jason Bourne style movie? Because that
doesn't get that
really
bad.
Like disinterest. Okay, thank God. Yeah,
and I think the legitimate sort of climactic, without giving too much away, because I know two of us haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but the climactic sort of thing between Dave Patel's character and the big bad at the end is sort of retracted enough.
I mean, Dev Patel? You said Dave
Oh,
Patel.
sorry, Dev. It's very late. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, okay.
No,
it's okay.
Dev Patel.
No, it's his brother Dave.
His American cousin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's American brother Dave. Yeah.
Dev Patel and sort of the honcho big bad at the end. It's sort of retracted and not as sort of annoying and flashy as I was expecting it to be. Where it's sort of very, I can't think of it right now, but it's just like a very sort of personal, quiet little one-on-one where I'm like, okay, it's simple. Yeah, it ends on a pretty simple note where I'm like, okay, that was fine. I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't like,
the shaky cam's only really used in one like particular sequence. The other time it's kind of just like it's mostly just done pretty standard, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, because I was mentioning this to Jack when we're recording his podcast, but when I was talking about the raid, I was like, I can tolerate handheld cam like shot action scenes, because like that's just kind of what you would have to rely on eventually once an action scene becomes more chaotic, but I cannot tolerate shaky cam like whatsoever. Like, to me, like shaky cam, when I watch an action movie that prominently features shaky cam, it feels like I'm being scammed because it's like I paid money to watch like people fight, and I want to see fights like with clarity, like, and by shaking the camera like a fucking asshole, it's just like this, like I feel like I'm being scammed because I'm not getting what I asked for. I didn't get what I paid for.
It's got to be used as an extension.
I mean, it's good to know that like it doesn't.
Yeah, which it definitely felt like in Monkey Man. Like it really it kind of goes under like it's recording from like they're fighting like up above the camera, like, or there's like one scene in an elevator that's like really close quarters that gets like really really close and personal. Like you can see like the pores on the noses and stuff, and like it looks really really good. There's a lot of like
Hotline
very
Miami or something
very
like that,
controlled chaoticness to it,
and a lot of like sort of one of the actually something I wasn't expecting is one of my biggest takeaways was sort of the very obscure niche needle drops that were going on. Like there's some really interesting song choices used throughout that was like, I was like, okay, all right. It's it really helps sort of set up an exciting action sequence. Yeah, it's like, okay, I haven't heard this song before, like in a your typical actioner. So I'm like, okay, this is different enough. Where I'm like, sort of gets you amped for the action sequence that you're about to see. But
I also wasn't expecting the just how like there's like one sequence in particular, but sometimes it gets like, it goes very surreal. There's like one particular scene that's like, oh my goodness, I was not expecting an action movie of all things to go this kind of weird and all out, and I very much appreciated that.
Yeah, and the actual sort of connective sort of moral to like what Monkey Man, the sort of the monkey lore, I guess you could say, and like all these different animals was really sort of
Monkey Mania.
It went full banana mode.
Yeah.
I really wanted it to go like really dumb at one. Like I was really hoping it would end with like Dev Patel like charging him with like an actual like bunch of monkeys like to fuck up the bad guys. I was like, okay, give me like an army of monkeys. That's where I wanted it to go. Yeah,
like on some
strapping
Indiana
like
Jones
bananas
shit
to himself like they're grenades.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like the end of Aguirre, the Wrath of God, with the monkeys on the raft.
Exactly. He recruits King Kong at one point.
All that, in the squeak wall, while all the monkeys team up in the next one.
There's going to be a
King Kong's in the post-credit scene of this one. Put together a team.
Yeah, and he'll Dev Patel's Monkey Man will appear in a Godzilla X Kong the Third, whatever the next one will be called.
That's really funny, actually.
There's a lot of monkey movies this year.
It's Monkey Year, man.
What other monkey movies have come out besides
There's the new Planet of the Apes.
That new Planet of the Apes movie. Yeah.
That's 3 monkey movies this year.
I should have thought about that a little longer.
We actually talked about Timmy at the end of our Pirates discussion. We named a bunch of movie monkeys. We haven't been able to stop talking about monkeys this year.
Yeah, because I was like, my favorite movie monkey is the Nazi monkey from Raiders who did the Hail Hitler thing.
It's the poison grapes.
That was epic. Yeah. So.
You don't like the Night at the Museum monkey?
Jules, I name dropped that monkey. That's my favorite movie monkey too. Yeah. Dexter.
Dexter. Yeah, he's also in.
Dexter
He's also in.
steals his key.
He's also
Where
in.
was
He's
Dexter
also
in
in
this-
Community as well as the Annie's boobs
Yeah,
monkey.
I like I like that one. Yeah, I didn't know he had such range as an
Yeah,
actor.
yeah.
Where's his Oscar? He's been robbed for years.
Yeah, yeah. He deserves an Oscar more than Leonardo DiCaprio, if I'm being honest.
Can you imagine Leo's face if like he gets robbed because a monkey gets chosen
I mean,
for him?
I'd be pissed by like half the people who won Oscars
Leo-
before Leonardo
Leo
DiCaprio.
just charges up on the stage and starts strangling this monkey in front of live television.
like Lydia Tarr or something.
Amazing. I don't have any more.
Do you guys have
I don't have any
anything
more
more to say about
No,
it?
Yeah.
go. John Wick's already a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of both John Wick, but in India, but also its own thing, kind of. Would you say that's a fair thing to say?
Actually, one more point to bring up that
Okay.
I got a positive that I really like is there's a really actual phenomenal sort of like when our character's at the lowest point and there's a really good sort of like training.
yeah, the
montage, I
Rocky
guess you
training
could say, of, like,
montage. Oh
of
my
him-
god, that was great.
Yeah, but it's
That
like
was
him
amazing.
him punching this like training with this punching bag
Sandbag,
and it's
yeah.
like set to this like sort of
This drum music. Yeah.
like indigenous music that like in India, which is really phenomenal.
Yeah,
I
that
thought
was
you were gonna
great.
say they just needle dropped like Eye of the Tiger or some
Ugh.
shit, and I'd be like, that would have slapped.
My popcorn would have been thrown up in the air and I would have
Yeah,
started
David
applauding.
Ayer did not direct this movie, Timmy.
Thankfully,
Dun, dun,
luckily,
dun.
thank God.
Dun, dun,
So, which should be an indicator. Do not see The Beekeeper. It was fucking
Oh,
bullshit.
I'm
come
still
on
gonna
now,
see.
the
I'm still gonna
Beekeeper's
see
great.
the. I'm still gonna see the Beekeeper.
Jules,
It
do you
looks.
wanna
It looks
Jules,
quite
the
fun.
Beekeeper's good.
Why would you want to watch it?
Luca, have you seen Beekeeper?
Nah, me and Jules are gonna watch it together now.
Beekeeper's
Yes.
phenomenal. Out of the two sort of John Wick clones this year,
Beekeeper's the better one.
has taken the cake for me. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. There's so many fucking great bee puns.
Oh yeah, doesn't he say like lines like
I
"Oh,
love
gotta
it.
protect the
yeah,
hive"?
yeah, I
and,
forgot.
yeah, you don't
I
mess
gotta
with the
protect the
queen
hive.
bee.
Yeah. He says that like 6 times in the
That's
movie, and it's like,
awesome.
I get it. Like
it's so-
Jerry Seinfeld B movie. Jerry Seinfeld B movie was more subtle with its bee puns than the Beekeeper.
I shit
if
you
can
not.
believe
I
that.
shit you not. There is like a 10-second little moment where the beekeeper just looks at a jar of honey in his car and admires the jar of honey and just smiles at it. That happens for
That's
about 10
awesome.
seconds. The movie stops just for that little moment.
No,
It's fantastic.
I remember that. Yeah, that was really
Lovely.
weird. I was like, what is
It's so
going on?
so
Like,
weird.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
never
we
brought
gotta
up
get on
again.
this,
He just
Luca.
picks up this jar of honey and gives it a little smile. It's so good.
Jules, that's gotta be the next thing we watch.
Yeah,
live.
David Ayer's at it again. He's on top of that shit. So, yeah. Maybe, who knows? Yeah, maybe The Beekeeper is a better movie than Monkey Man.
I
haven't
did
seen
quite
it, but
like The
I'm-
Beekeeper. It was the ultimate
guess
dad
people
classic
just
for
wa-
anti-technology dads.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the most epic boomer movie. Yeah. So, speaking of boomer movies,
Oh, no.
the next. Oh wait, sorry. Did you want to rate? Did you guys want
yes.
to rate
7 out
Monkey
of
Man
10 for
first
Monkey
before we
Man.
talk about the
Good
boomer
shit.
movie? Yeah.
Enjoy it.
What are we rating out of 10?
Yeah, or whatever your
5
rating
or-
system is.
10 or 5,
Jack
whatever you
doesn't
want.
rate
It
things,
doesn't
guys.
matter. Yeah, it doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
'Cause
don't
he's
rate
correct.
movies on Letterboxd anymore, unfortunately.
I should start doing that as well.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, you don't.
So
rate
if
the
I-
movie.
no, but
was
if-
okay, let's do it like this. When you
Okay.
when the credits rolled, what was
Yeah.
what was your face looking like? Was there a smile? Was it blank? Was there a big smile? Was there a frown?
Was there a
Or
frown?
Was it
Yeah.
yeah? Well, what was
I think it was a
going on?
What
combination.
emotions were you feeling?
It was like a quick combination of all 5 of those things, and then people in the cinema was worried I was having a stroke.
Oh, cool. Okay. I think I can,
No,
I think I can
if-
pick up that rating then.
If I were to give it a star, it would honestly be like out of 5. I'd probably give it like a 2.
Wow. Two out of 5.
2 out of 5. 2 bananas from me.
2 bananas.
2 bananas out of 5 bananas. Wow.
Two monkey.
2 bags of
behinds.
bananas.
Two bags of bananas from me.
One monkey bum.
2 bags of bananas out of 5 trees of
Yeah,
bananas.
2 bunning
and you can
sausages
quote
out
that
of
however,
yeah.
5 hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Two stars, one for Dev Patel and one for his cousin Dave.
His American cousin.
His American cousin.
We should preface.
2 stars for
so-
Shelter Copley.
Because no self-respecting Brit would call himself Dave. Oh, is
He's
he in
in it.
this?
He is in it.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
I do have to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Don't I?
Yeah, you got to support your boy,
Yeah,
Luca.
so you're contractually obligated
gotta
because
He's
there's
got
a
New York. You
there's a
might have to
South
go
African in the movie.
collaborate with
and I gotta support
Neil Blomkamp again.
the trans women.
There is a few.
Oh yeah, they.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Timmy.
No, I was just gonna say I completely forgot they did. What was that robot movie
Chappie.
that Neil Blomkamp directed? What was that
Chappie.
called?
Chappie.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
His RoboCop.
Yeah, they did that together.
He
I
is
completely forgot.
RoboCop.
He's RoboCop.
Dude, I watched
Um,
Chappie
yeah.
again the other day. That was a weird experience for me. I'm not
Poor
gonna
Neil
lie.
Blomkamp. He can't make a hit.
Neil.
He just can't get it right.
But, like,
He can't do it.
like, you guys have seen Chappie, right?
Yes, I've seen Chappie.
Yeah.
I saw it when it came
No,
out.
I've never seen Chappie. Yeah.
Like, you guys will actually never be able to fully understand that movie. Like, I'm sorry to say, but it is actually just beyond, like, your levels of comprehension. Like, like some of the...
You need a high IQ to understand
it's not
Chappie.
that you need a high IQ. It's that you just need to have been born in South Africa. You need to be South African. It's actually a really funny movie for South African people. It's like, it's hot trash as well. Like, it's trashy.
Yeah.
But, like, it is really funny at the same time. Like, interesting movie. Interesting.
Jack, were you gonna mention that they like make references to Chappie in Monkey Man? Is that what you're gonna say, or were you gonna say
No,
something
no,
else?
that'd be incredible. Actually, I'd probably like it a bit more. No, what I was going to say was there was a few sort of really. Jules will probably agree with me. Like all the sort of wrestling sequences that happens in like this really grungy sort of underground like fight club. Oh
yeah, they were great.
That was like probably my favorite stuff in the movie because it's like he's pinned up against like all these different animals. Like I can't remember any off the top of my head. I think there's like a snake guy. All that
tiger.
stuff's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, although and that's sort of and a lot of sort of screen time is dedicated to that stuff too, which helped save it a little bit for me because I was really attracted to all that stuff because it just looks so filthy.
Oh yeah, it just looks disgusting. Like I could feel like the grease and the sweat and the dirt, like just
Yeah,
emanating
really,
through
a
the
lot
screen.
of Patel's sort of was really talented at like a lot of great disgusting close-ups of like these really horrible looking people
Oh, yeah,
just
they
like
just look-
screaming
yeah.
and sweating into the camera.
Yeah, there's just like
It's like all
looks I just
smoky
haven't
and-
showered. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's.
And I guess a lot of
the
people are trying to
Monkey Mania.
spin sequels out of this too. A lot of people have been like, we want more.
I don't see how there could be
Would it
more.
set up a sequel?
There's
Or-
no room for one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
Unless they just go like the route where he's like sort of like a vigilante now, is like
Monkey
it's
Man.
I don't. I will. That's why.
Oh.
Yeah, we're the monkey men now.
Yeah,
We're the-
he is. Yeah, he forms like a
for this
monkey
version of the
Avengers
Justice
League.
League.
That'd
The
be
Monkey
fucking
Avengers.
awesome.
Monkeys got together. All the movie monkeys got together.
Well, no. It's just like
Like, you
that
got
would
King
be
Kong in there. You
phenomenal.
got like.
It's just like every type of every sequel is a different kind of monkey. So we get like Bonobo Man and like Gorilla Man and like Orangutan Man and
No,
what's
no,
Orangutan
Cyan
not all
Man.
man. No, not all man. They all have
Yeah.
like different names. Bonobo Man was good, but then you got like the gorilla,
Bonobo Man.
and then you got
Yeah.
like,
the silverback.
Yeah, the silverback.
Fuck.
The
Chimpanzee.
silverback.
The
Bane.
capuchin.
There should be a
Yeah.
there should be a monkey
you
that's
get the
that's
kombucha
named Bane,
king,
and it's
the
just
kombucha
Bane.
king.
The Capuchin King. Yeah.
Yeah.
The tagline is "They're all going bananas."
Tonight we dine in
Guys,
banana
we
hell.
gotta
Yeah.
copyright this shit right now.
Yeah, we gotta.
We
put out
asked
like a-
for-
Yeah, we
I'm
gotta
gonna
pitch
write
this
this
to like
fucking
Hollywood
script.
studios.
Quick.
Yeah, we gotta pitch this to like Hollywood like quickly before someone else takes this idea.
I'm just thinking of taglines like
Yeah,
who left?
Oh,
the
my mind's going
bananas out?
crazy right now.
your mind's gonna go ape shit.
Yeah.
Like they replace the I with like an asterisk or whatever. Yeah.
You'll
Oh
be
man, I'm
bouncing across
I'm a
the
genius.
walls
I'm a
with
marketing
this
Fuck,
genius.
this movie's gonna make it $10 billion.
Yeah, this will replace the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The MCU will be replaced by the MCU, the Monkey Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, exactly.
We need a rebrand.
Yeah.
This isn't the MCU you once knew.
Yeah, this ain't your
Yeah,
dad's
this is the new and
MCU.
improved
This is the
one.
monkey cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Shit goes
Exactly.
bananas in here.
Ain't no one. Yeah, shit goes ape shit in this one. Yeah,
Too
ain't
good.
no monkeying around
Yeah,
in this one.
Oh, I just thought of the greatest joke. You'll be oohing and ahhing.
And they've all got like
Yeah.
the bat signal, but it's just like a banana in the sky.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That, I was thinking the exact
We
same
gotta
thing. Yeah, the dank knight, but instead of Batman, it's just a monkey,
monkey.
or something.
Let's not.
That's why the
let's not-
fucking monkey
let's
at
not
the
run
Melbourne
into
Zoo
the
tried to break out. It was just he was trying to join the monkey cinematic universe.
He wanted to go to the cinemas to see Monkey Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Trying to get his monkey
Speaking of
discount.
things that are bananas, Civil War. Guess we should talk
Yeah.
about it.
Civil
Yeah, it's
War.
the newest
More like
film
Civil
from
War.
Alex Garland. Remember? It's
That's
funny,
a good
our-
one. I
Civil
like
War.
that.
That's a good
I
one.
like that.
Put that on the poster. Get rid of the
I like
the
that.
original title. Just call it Civil War. Yeah.
Recast me as the fucking president. Let's do it.
Jack Siddle is the president.
Yeah.
Jack would call
Just
it-
shoot me at the end.
Jack would call it Civil War.
No, it'll
but
be
the
like
rest
that.
of us would call
We
it
can recreate
Middle
that
War.
scene where
Civil War. I like that.
we can recreate that scene where Jesse Plemons, but instead of Jesse Plemons, it's Jack's face, and we're all like, no, we're all Siddles, and you're like, okay,
What kind of
what kind of Siddle are you?
Oh my
You-
god.
We're all
So,
Michael Mann fans in here. What kind of Michael Mann fan are you?
yeah,
Alright, well, which Michael Mann movie's your favorite?
Yeah.
and then I'll be like that guy who's like, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he just like shoots
The
Ford
key.
v Ferrari. Yeah.
Ford v Ferrari. Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
So, but anyway, yeah, this is the newest joint from Alex Garland, and it's funny we're talking about this because we started our first episode with an Alex Garland movie.
Oh, yeah.
The other one that come out, The Men or
His
whatever.
second worst
Yeah.
movie.
So this is kind of a return. Yeah, this is a return to form. He also did Ex Machina, The Annihilation, all that good stuff. And I haven't seen Annihilation, so I can't really compare to that. But even if I haven't seen it, I think we can all agree that this is easily his worst movie. I did not like this one at all.
And also, if I can quickly cut you off and cut in, apparently, which I've just learnt through the internet space while this movie has been released, that apparently he ghost directed that Dread movie that came out.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, he directed
yeah,
like
I
a
think-
little bit.
I
I don't know if he
think John
directed the
mentioned
whole
that
thing,
in
but
the-
like he did like some of it.
Well, apparently Carl Urban said that like he more or less directed the movie, so
Because he was a
take that
he was a
as
writer.
well. Yeah,
That's low
so-
key his best film then.
It's probably like a Wachowski's like V for Vendetta type situation where like it says
100%.
like it's V for Vendetta is directed by someone else, but like more or less can just guess it was probably directed by the Wachowskis.
100%.
So, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happened with this movie because so the basic premise is that it's an alternate universe where another civil war happens in America, but like that's it. They don't go any further with this premise. It's just like there's a civil war and there's guns and that's it. Like that's all that's going on, and it's just like I was so disappointed because like what I like about at least his approach to writing is that like he like takes these like simple like genre premises and like actually adds something unique and interesting to them that like makes them stand out, that makes them worth watching. Like even if I wasn't the biggest fan of Men, at least like Men had like some interesting things to say that I did connect with. At least there was like something going on like tangibly that I could like grasp my hands with. And in this one, it's just the most vapid surface level bullshit ever. Like there's just absolutely nothing going on. Like there are individual scenes in this movie that I think are very well constructed, like that are technically well made, but like those individual scenes don't connect with each other. There's no connecting thread like within this movie. It's just that things happen and then the message is war is bad and like fascism is bad and that's it. Like really? Like I'll go into more of my deep thoughts later, but like my general opinions is that I did not like this movie at all. I was very frustrated and very disappointed with the movie. So
I mean, I don't think it's aiming for like. It's mostly aiming for like. I don't think it's going for anything particularly like fascism is bad and war is bad, violence is bad. I think it's more like it's more about like how desensitized we are to violence through media and like how we consume photographs of like war and stuff and like how pretty much everything is broadcast.
No, I get that.
To
It's
our
just they
homes
went.
and whatnot.
No,
Yeah.
I get that, but it's just they went about that in the most surface level sloppy way
yeah,
possible.
definitely,
It's just like,
definitely.
I'm so desensitized.
It was very poorly
it
communicated.
it doesn't add anything to. Yeah, it was very poorly communicated. Doesn't add anything to it. It's just like they just do the bare minimum and they just call it a day. Like, so. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, keep going. If you had more initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's. I know what it's trying to go for, and it's like I can see what is within reach, but it's just like it's so. It seems to be so terrified of having like something to say almost that it just kind of drags around it, and then the film kind of ends up having nothing to say because of it. Like it was such an incredibly frustrating experience because like even though I think it's a really well made film, like I thought the cinematography and the sound design and like all the production design was great. I thought all the performances were great. But it's just like when you boil it down, it's just like, did this movie have anything to say? And I think the answer is no.
I guess that was intentional too, because like I guess Alex Garland and A24 like purposely wanted to appeal to as many people as possible, which like is really a weird approach to make because the movie's called Civil War and it takes place in America. And when you think about like the current political like tribalism in America, you'd think the movie would I don't know have
like
something to
witnessing
say
that.
about that.
Like the film,
Yeah,
he talked
exactly,
about I watched an
but it's
interview where
like-
he said like the film is like meant to is intended as a post January 6th movie. I was like, then what are you trying to say then, mate? Like, you,
I think that makes me dislike it even more because I didn't know about that. But if this is his response to January 6th, then I'm even more disappointed and frustrated. So, Luca, Jack.
Yeah, no, I was literally just gonna, and it's so funny that you literally just brought that up because it's funny that we've all sort of got differing sort of opinions and aspects on what the movie's trying to say, and it's. But I'll start here that I, as jumped on as I may get here, I did quite enjoy it. I have liked all of Garland's stuff, and it's funny because from about the halfway point, it clicked for me and went, oh, okay, he's clearly trying to say something about the whole Trump impeachment, the January 6th incident. Clearly a much more boneheaded approach politically. Like, I think... I did love this movie quite a bit, but I also thought it might very well be one of the dumbest movies I've ever
it's
seen.
a dumb movie that like thinks it's smart. That's like pretending to be smart. It's like the movie's like an embodiment of like an average Reddit user.
I would say
basically, if
thinks
you
it's
really
way
think
more
about it.
important than it is smart. I think what Garland kind of gets lost up his own ass a little bit. And it's so, especially like the last 5 minutes of this movie were kind of jaw dropping for me. I'm like, wow, they really just let him do
Really,
anything.
I did not like the last like half hour of this
Oh
movie.
no, that's the
at
thing.
all. Like I was
totally on board. I was liking it, but I was laughing my ass off because I couldn't believe what I was witnessing.
Oh, okay. You're talking about. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To the point where I was like, oh, okay, this is like... Because I leaned over to my buddy who I was watching it with, and I said to him, I was like, this might be the dumbest movie I've ever seen. Of like a recreation of like the January 6th incident, but like dropping in like characters from like a Call of Duty campaign.
I was gonna mention the same thing. I was like, the last like half hour of this movie is
It was
just some shitty like
kind of bizarre.
It was like a
campaign
get to the
mission from like a
checkpoint movie.
from like a COD game. It was awful.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
all
like
the
a-
all the soldiers...
Shoot the
Flag
yeah,
has
all
been-
the soldiers...
flag has been
the bad
secured.
guys, yeah.
all the soldier guys like who were alongside Kirsten Dunst and everything were like such dude bros. I couldn't, but like one of them was like shouting like, "The fucking president's on the look," and they were like, almost, oh my god, they're gonna start like just pouring beers over each other, and like it was insane. I couldn't believe on like because to me the movie was like sort of a interesting Children of Men style like cross country movie of like a road trip sort of thing of like just sort of a montage of scene after scene of like isn't it fucking like just terrible what we're doing to each other, like as fucking lost up your own ass as you can get.
It's kind of like a Last of Us like
almost,
aesthetic type movie, but with like without the zombies, obviously. So
and then obviously like I think the last like 30 minutes to me, excluding the last 3, was just sort of an interesting montage of like compelling war imagery of like sort of like Afghanistan or something, but set like just down like a New York street or something. It was like I found it sort of interesting in that aspect, but for me it got to a point where I was like, it went so far where I was like, this is just silly now.
Yeah, it's
and
it's interesting because like I feel like the inner conflict Alex Garland is having in this movie is because like he's someone who can do like like in Judge Dredd, like the really cool like big popcorn action sequences, but then he can also do shit like Men, which is like a very kind of restrained, artful film. And I feel like he's like battling between both in Civil War, where it's like, do you want to be just like a character study, or do you want to be just like the big bombastic action sequences?
Dumb action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that kind of leads to a very kind of conflicting tone
the
throughout.
last half hour of this movie, it's just full on dread shit, which is I don't have anything. I don't have any problems with that. Like that's fine if that's what if that's not the whole movie though. Like the action scenes in the first half like attempt to be this like weird like sort of like, oh, look how like the journalists are so desensitized by war or whatever, and like individual scenes work very well, like the sniper scene where like they're in like the holiday like parade or whatever, like where like they have the 2 snipers like shooting against each other. Like that was cool. Like that was a really well shot and well coordinated scene, but it's just like there's nothing deeper beyond that. It's just like it's a cool action scene and that's it. And like I wish like if that's all this movie was going to be, then I wish it just fully committed to doing that. But like this movie is also insisting that it's very deep, that it's like it has something to say about like war and like government or whatever. Like this film, I think honest to God, has some of the shittiest world building I think I've ever seen in a movie. Like this movie doesn't attempt at any sort of like world building or lore building or any sort of like explaining what the fuck is going on. Like by the end of the movie, I still didn't know like what was driving the war just in general.
I don't think you're
or, like,
meant
even
to
who
know,
anyone was. Like because like
it's still extremely frustrating.
I get that we're not supposed to know, but at the same time, like
didn't they imply it was something to do with
that's
like
what's
racism?
frustrating. It's like you can't do this one shit where it's like, oh, it's like we don't know who we're fighting for anymore. We're just like indulging in violence. But then do this other shit where it's like we're the WF, we're like fighting for freedom or whatever. We're gonna like liberate America from the. It's like you can't do both then. Like just pick one. Like it just doesn't commit to either. And it's like if you're going to do that, if you're going to do the whole like, oh, WF versus like the loyalist, I think that's what they're called, the people who support Ron Swanson and his government, it's like then you need to make clear like what everyone is fighting for, or like what everyone is like this whole ordeal. I didn't even know who each individual person was, because my understanding was like, oh, the people wearing like army uniforms or whatever, those were the loyalists, and those who were wearing like just civilian clothing with like body armor, those were just like everyone else. But then it turns out the people who were wearing the army uniforms were the WF, and then, like,
I mean, it's intentionally meant to be confusing.
Weren't. Like it. No, I get that, but it's like, but you can't do that and then also just have clear sides at the end of the movie where like, oh, these are the WF and these are the loyals. It's like, fuck off. It's like you. Am I making sense? Like I feel like I'm going crazy when I'm saying this is like a frustration of mine.
I could very well be wrong, but I think what. And if anyone has heard any sort of Alex Garland commentary that I might know, please inform me. But from what I gathered from it is that is it Nick Offerman?
Nick Offerman, yeah.
who plays the
Nick
president.
Offerman, yeah.
I think he was just supposed to be Trump because there was some indications of.
But they said
Because
that
there was the whole thing. There's a brief line of like defunding the FBI, which Trump actually tried to do. So I think it
still
was
trying
just
to do
supposed
it.
to be Trump without.
yeah.
For obviously like for
He's still trying
for,
to do
like-
it. Yeah, it's not like he didn't stop at any point.
just for like legal reasons, they obviously couldn't call him like Donald Trump or anything. But that's clearly the character.
Well,
So
they
I
said
think it's just
they said
supposed to
that
be sort of-
because I was watching an interview where someone asked him like, so why does Texas and California team up? Which is an important question to ask because
I
like
saw this and I was so
he,
mad.
and he just said like
Yeah.
like well there's this like fascist president basically who's like a dictator and like both sides of the or most sides of the political spectrum are trying to like just kind of stop him basically and he has like his loyal estates. I feel like the he's it's so stupid because he keeps saying like the movie's like apolitical and stuff, but it's like when the character who's like saying like
Called Civil War.
no
How could it not
when the
be?
one
How could
when the
it
one
be
Jesse
apolitical?
Plemons character who's like obviously meant to be so evil is asking what kind of American are you, like it's like I fucking know
What
what
kind
you're
of
doing, like
American
it's
are you?
obvious,
I
like
said
just
that in my
fucking
review.
come out with it, like
very on the nose.
Yeah.
It was very on the nose.
That was like that felt like it was written in there for like a trailer bait line because the line
yeah,
the line
definitely.
after that like has like absolutely no
Yeah.
like meaning to what he just said. Like that was literally just like such a baity line.
Yeah.
He's like, what kind of
Yeah,
American
yeah.
are you?
Yeah, it has
like,
nothing
and
to
he's
do with
looking
the
at a
rest of the
fucking, like,
movie. Like, it
Hispanic
doesn't-
person when
yeah.
he says that. Like, bro, come on. Like what? Like we get what you're trying to say here, but
yeah,
Yeah.
you ain't subtle here.
just like yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
it literally
that's another
is,
thing
like,
as well
the,
that I
the
think
most
his
that scene says it's just that he's a racist because he like shoots like the Asian people where like where are you from, like Hong Kong, he's like okay, and then shoots them. It's like
be
is
fair.
this it, like is this as deep
to
as
be
it
fair,
goes?
Jesse
He's
Plemons
racist,
like
like
fits
that's
that
it.
look really well, to be honest.
Oh, he rocks
I mean,
those
yeah,
glasses
like,
so
after-
good.
As dumb as like that line
Yeah,
delivery
after-
was in that scene, like if you just remove all the dialogue from that scene, because it was actually some of the most baffling thing I ever had to hear in my life.
The most baffling thing was that they chose to go over to
him.
him in the first place.
Yeah, but
Like
Yeah,
he's
it's
burying
like, are you
civilian
stupid?
bodies, and they're just like, "Hey, what's up?"
but like that scene on like a
Yeah, they should have just
suspense
done
level.
what that guy did in the first place, which is just run them over. Why didn't they just do that in the first place? You clearly are seeing them committing war crimes. You're seeing them commit human atrocities.
He's wearing a MAGA hat.
Are you dumb?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Are you dumb? Sorry,
Yeah, I mean,
Luca,
it's
what were you
just
saying?
like-
I
Yeah.
was just saying like
To
that was
go back to
one
that,
of
I think
scenes
the
that I
one of the
enjoyed
most
on,
frustrating.
like,
Oh, God damn
I
it.
guess like a tonal level. Dialogue wise, completely fucking no. Fuck that shit. But I guess like
Yeah.
the way they use like the sound design and like suspense in that scene, I actually did quite enjoy quite a lot. It was very intense, and I didn't actually expect it to go the way that it did.
Yeah, the gunshots in
I
this
thought the
movie
sound
sound
design was like the
terrifying.
best.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I thought like the sound design was like the best thing about the movie. Like I really did like how like it wasn't quite like Michael Mann at level like gun
No.
sound effects, you know, but
That's
like
what
it
he's going
certainly
for, clearly,
felt like
though.
very yeah, it felt very visceral. It very felt like the last half hour I think I was going deaf at a certain point
Yeah.
because the gun sound effects were just so loud.
Yeah.
But it did work well for the film. Like it definitely like it's what I'm saying. Like the action scenes with like in of themselves. Like if you just cut out everything else and you just solely look at the action scenes just by themselves, like they work very well. You know, like I mean, yeah, it's still filled with like dumb dialogue.
I think they only
like,
work. They
what
were
kind
only
of
working in
American are you, and
episodic
all that
context.
shit. You know. Yeah, exactly. Which is why, like for me, I think. I think this movie is kind of like the biggest waste of potential in terms
a
of
really
how
good
it
subject
presents
matter to
itself.
try and
You know,
make
because
a
like
film
in my
about, I think.
yeah. It's really great subject matter, which is why, in my opinion, I think the better way to go about this, and I mentioned this in my review on Letterboxd, which is I think this would have worked 100 times better if this was like some sort of like
Yeah,
World War Z
completely.
style like
That's
like
a
pseudo
really great
documentary
idea.
series. And, yeah, like not when I say World War Z, I don't mean the shitty Brad Pitt movie. I'm saying like the actual book, like the book World War Z, because like what makes that this is not like I'm not going to lecture the book like for 20 minutes. Like basically the basic premise of the World War Z book
It's
is
a
that like it
historical
takes
account.
something like a zombie apocalypse, yeah, but it treats it like it's something that actually happened. happened, and they like treat it as like a documentary where they interview survivors of the zombie apocalypse. They interview like doctors who worked on cures. They interview like soldiers or who fought in like battles like Battle of Yonkers and Battle of Hope. Like they treat it like a real subject matter and present it like a almost like a
Like a history
what
book.
was that yeah, like not like a history, but I was trying to think of anyway, yeah, like a history, but like a documentary, like a real, like actual professional documentary, like that treats the zombie apocalypse like a real thing. And I think that similar approach to this movie would have worked so much better. Like you could still have the same like action scenes in this pseudo documentary, just except this time like treat it like you're like a news reporter, like recording like all the violence that's happening. But as a pseudo documentary, you also, and as an episodic pseudo documentary specifically, you have the time to explain who everyone is, what their motivations are, why they're like rebelling against the government, what exactly Ron Swanson did in this that was so fucking awful that like caused both Texas and California to be like, all right, bet we're gonna team up, you know? Like it, I just think that like there was so much of a better approach to this movie like that, but they just wasted that because I guess Alex Garland and A24 just wanted to make an action movie or something, like, which is fine. Then just don't call it Civil War. Don't make it about like like an alternate like tribalistic America. Just set it in space or some shit. Like, why did this have to be this way? You know, it's so frustrating because this could have been something great, but it ends up just being so mediocre and so dog shit. Like, oh my god, like I'm so upset.
I think a big problem that it could have, like, despite the fact I did like it quite a bit, I think the fact that a movie like this trying to pack in so many sort of political opinions and sort of political ideologies, the fact it goes for like 100 minutes is insane.
Yeah.
In such sort of like a short runtime.
Surprisingly short.
It's bizarre, yeah.
Because like... Yeah, it's like, I was like, what? This is like an hour 40...
I
like,
remember,
I would
yeah.
have expected at least like 2 hours.
I remember there were rumors
So-
when, like, I think before even the first trailer came out that, like, Alex Garland was working on this, like, you know, sort of political war movie, and it was going to go for, like, just over 3 hours long. And then, like, the runtime, like, gets releasing in, like, 100 minutes. Like, going to say
Yeah.
all he needs to say in this short
Wow.
runtime? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a director's cut of this movie.
Surely,
somewhere,
there's gotta
on
be.
the cutting room
Yeah.
board.
There's
Yeah,
gotta be.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's so the most like frustrating thing for me is like the way that that it's written, and in like the way that that it's characterized, because like the film is as like, I think obviously one of his main inspirations was Apocalypse Now, so because it's just like Apocalypse Now, where it's like this kind of journey down to a place, but instead of a river, it's like a road trip. But Apocalypse Now kind of has this episodic structure as well, to like where they see things just along the route. But it's just like there's an impact to each of those encounters where it's just like where it gets to the point where everything is just like completely insane, and everything is just like buzzing with violence that is like about to explode at any minute. But this is just like they see like the people who have they've hung some people and they're keeping them alive at like the gas place, but it's like
Yeah, right.
there's not they don't
I forgot
they take
about that scene.
they take a picture and then it's just like,
Yeah,
oh
the
my god,
Canadian
that was rough, and then like I've never seen anything like that before, and then like, yeah, leave.
That was so bad.
And then
anyway,
so like the only thing
It's
that has
literally
any of
that meme where it's
has
like,
anything of
"Oh, that's
consequence is
awesome."
like
Anyway.
the Stephen and
Like,
McKinley
it's
Henderson
literally-
death.
That's the movie. That's
And-
the thesis of the movie.
And his writing can only, he wants people to understand his themes, like what he's going for, but it's only in like the most like obvious context. Like he so badly needs you to understand like they even spell out the themes out loud pretty much. Like if you compare, like I did this in my review where I compared the scene in Apocalypse Now where they're at the Dolong Bridge and they go through like these trenches, which is just like so like lit darkly, and just like the lighting is from like flares and explosions overhead, and it's just like it feels like hell itself. And then he asks the guy who's in charge, and he just says like, yeah, and then like that's to imply that there's no one in charge, obviously. But and then you compare that to the scene where with the sniper that you were talking about, which is like, yeah, it's staged.
Yeah.
It's staged very well, but then it's just like they ask like, what's going on here, and they say, someone is trying to kill us. We are trying to kill them. Which side are you on? Like, I don't know. We just do what we're told, man.
It,
you know,
yeah.
like, oh my god, like.
Yeah,
like this is something that can be understood in
really
like a very like you don't have to physically tell it to me. Like I can understand. Like just there's a more power in that guy in Apocalypse Now just saying than there is in them saying someone is trying to kill us. We are trying to kill them.
It's a very good comparison.
A 6-year-old could have understood that. Yeah, it wasn't. It's not that. It's not that subtle. Like it's just. I'm glad you mentioned Apocalypse Now because I think that's a great comparison. Because like in Apocalypse Now, things were building on top of each
they're
other.
Stacking
like,
on top of each other to a certain point where it's
next,
just like it's like a fuse basically.
Yeah, like each scene is important because the scene before then, like, connects with what happens next in the next scene, you know? Like when you go from like Kilgore to like the next scene, which I'm struggling to remember, but I remember it just being it was a great like process, like steps, like like it was a great like step in the right direction type, you know. And in this one it's just like instead of like Apocalypse Now where like things were stacking on top of each other, in this one it just felt like scenes were just happening in spite of each other. They were just like, all right, well, on to the next one. Great, now we did this action scene, on to the next one. It's like it just didn't seem like there was any like connection between like each individual episodic moments. It was just like, oh, here's another moment where Kirsten Dunst is just so desensitized from war. Oh, here's this next scene where Kaylee Spaney's doing some stupid, dumb bullshit, and it's putting everyone in danger or whatever. Like her character in particular, like is just the most complete 180. Like this is a weird comparison, but her character kind of reminded me of Elliot Page from Super, where she goes from being like one person to a complete 180 by the end of the movie, and it's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, is this even the same character where like she's like starts out as this like shy, like reserved, like quiet, like, oh, I can't deal with this, to now like, oh yeah, Kirsten Dunst is dead, I'm gonna get like shots of this. It's like, what happened? Like did something happen in between the movie for it to lead to this moment? Like, I get that she said like, oh, it was scary, but it was also kind of cool, I guess. Like, I just
no, but that was kind of real.
There's
when
just
she took a photo of her dying. Like,
yeah, that was epic. Yeah, she put it on her Instagram, and it was huge
you
on
guys
TikTok.
have permission to take photos
So,
of me if I am like absolutely dying and like could potentially get help and not die.
Well, apparently from the start of the episode, that could happen any minute, so I'm going to follow you around.
yeah, apparently that could happen anytime, anywhere, so, you know.
So we're all going to follow Luca around and make sure that we get that perfect shot of her.
Don't say that out of context.
Oh, and I don't... we didn't... we haven't brought this up, and I'm sure you guys agree with me. I fucking hated all like the needle drops in this movie,
same.
like the random weird ass like licensed music. I was just so, and at points they were fucking ruining scenes. They were ruining moments. Like, I really liked that scene at first where like they were following those, like the shootout like in the building or whatever, between I don't even know which sides they were on anymore, but apparently that's the point. Like, it's where the guys with the plain clothes and body armor were like infiltrating the building and killing the guys with like the uniform soldiers or whatever. That scene was cool at first. Like, it kind of reminded me of like something like Full Metal Jacket, you know, where Joker and his crew like are trying to kill the sniper like near the end of the movie or whatever. And it was great at first, but then it's just fucking ruined by this like shitty licensed music where they play like some hip hop song like while like this dude like laughs and shoots his machine gun at like the blinded soldiers or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Like it was, the licensed music was genuinely ruining some moments where it's like, oh, this is great, but then it's just then that happens and it's just like, really? Like
yeah, it was very strange.
I'm just so mad.
But also going back to the Apocalypse Now thing,
like
I'm not saying this movie should completely follow Apocalypse Now, because obviously they're two separate things. But I think that there's an interesting point to be made about like the way, because you were talking about, Timmy, like how each encounter builds on each other. There's also a thing like that movie, like it changes visually as it goes, like the way it goes from like just very like bright summerish colors, and then by the end it's just like a very, because they're going further inland through the river, like the mountains are covering the suns and it gets darker and stuff, and like until suddenly you're in like a completely kind of new light and visual style, and like there's fog and stuff, and it's just like the whole movie changes briefly, as do the characters, like in a visual context. And then you're gonna take into this like hell heaven like world, obviously, but this movie like just stays the same visually, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's like if these characters are meant to be changing as they're going on this journey, then it would help if the visuals complemented that, I think. And you guys can disagree with me, but I think that would have helped the movie enormously. As I was saying, I think the visuals, to make another comparison to Apocalypse Now, which I'm not saying that the movie should like model its whole thing off Apocalypse Now, because of course it should be its own thing, but to make another comparison to it, Apocalypse Now, with what you were saying to me about how it builds on its encounters, it also changes visually as it goes, because it goes from like the start of like the Kilgore scenes, where it's like and even when they're jet skiing across the boat and stuff, where it's like it's very like it's summer-ish. There's a carefree quality to it, but then as they start going inland, obviously the mountains are like covering the sun, so then it gets darker, and then you're kind of like taken into this like shadowy, like hell heaven like world, whatever you want to call it. And so the madness is enveloping, because the way the film is changing visually, both in like landscape and lighting and stuff. And Civil War just stays the same, like completely throughout. Like it never changes its visual style, which I think is a massive, like it hinders the movie so much, because like when I'm just seeing like the same kind of style every time, it doesn't help the characters' like growth and journey, where like I think it should have changed along with them. Like it should have gotten more crazy and more violent and just like more chaotic to envelop the chaoticness surrounding them, and how this war has desensitized them, and there's just like it would have enforced that theme more, that just like everything is collapsing around them, basically. It's just chaos everywhere, which you're seeing more and more as the film goes, but not really, to be honest. It just kind of it stays like at a flat kind of style. Not to say that it's a badly constructed film, because I think it's a really well constructed film, but like there's a very much a consistency to the visuals. They always stay the same, like in their same style.
No, I 100% agree. Yeah, I like you said, it's not like the film is like poorly shot or anything like that. It's like you said, it's just the same shit. Like the most that the film changes visually, that it just goes from day to night. Like that's it. Like that's as far as it goes. You know, and like it wouldn't even be so bad if, like I said, if they just committed to something, you know, to a certain style. Like if they did shoot this like a This Is Spinal Tap, you know, type like documentary, you know, where like they shoot like I'm not joking. Like I'm not saying like it should be like the same tone wise as Spinal Tap, but like the way it presents itself, like it should be kind of similar to This Is Spinal Tap, where it's like it's because they're journalists anyway. Like it would be more stylistically interesting if they shot it like handheld cam, like a documentary almost, you know, like. And I keep bringing that up, but I think that is the best way to approach a subject matter like this, but they just don't. It's like it's just so flat and just so the same, you know. And then by the last like half hour, is just like, all right, now we're just gonna do some COD shit, you know. And like, and then it's just like, yeah, like the last 5 minutes was so laughably frustrating. It's just like Ron Swanson's like, please don't let them kill me, and they're like, and then the guy who played the Death Wolf from Puss in Boots is like, okay, cool beans, and then they shoot him, and that's it, and that's the movie's over. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I understand what they're going for, like the way that the credits kind of just like it reveals like a photo of them just kind of like
it's like a recreation of the Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, like this. Yeah,
but like for the American president.
The Mamad graffiti like photos and stuff. Like yeah. And but it's like it's an anticlimactic end, because like it's like they got what they wanted. They got that quote, and it's like, but it's like also like there's never a moment, which I guess is meant to be implied. There's never a moment to kind of like really like where they really show the impact of Kirsten Dunst's death. It just kind of happens, and then it's like, oh, that's it, which I suppose is meant to imply that the
Alright,
kind
we're
of like
moving on.
chaoticness of like that we don't have time to like mourn and cry. We just got to keep going. But it's like
Their life
then
is
it's
the
just
job.
like it's like
Which I feel like
it's
contradicts.
just silly.
It contradicts that
It very
very.
much contradicts
Yeah,
it.
no, and also you have to remember it contradicts that philosophy, because you have to remember that like the Death Wolf guy. I really hope I remember his
Wagner
name at some
Moura.
point. Wagner Mora. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name. Like his whole shtick was that like he was like crying and like having an emotional breakdown when like the journalist,
Stephen
like
McKinley Henderson.
the other guy, what was his name? Yes, Stephen McKinley Henderson. When he was died, like he was like breaking down crying, like it's supposed to be this emotional scene, but then when Kirsten Dunst, her like long loyal like companion dies, he just doesn't give a shit. He's just like, whatever. Like, what the fuck?
I think
It's
at
like,
that point in the movie, everyone was so emotionally removed anyway.
Yeah,
I think that
I think that's
point,
what that
it
was meant
like,
to imply.
I don't know
But
if
doesn't-
it completely
it doesn't-
works, but I think that's what he's going
kind of just
for.
happens scene to scene. Like suddenly
I know,
we're
I
in
get-
that. Like suddenly all of a sudden like they're locked in trying to get to the White House basically.
Yeah. I think at that point, no one's emotions... Like I said, I don't think it completely works, but I think what he was trying to convey there is like, in this situation, we've made it this far.
We made it this far.
Our
We need
emotions
to
are
do
just
this for
irrelevant at this
him.
No,
point.
I get that, but it was just so poorly
Oh,
communicated. It was just when you again comparing it to like Apocalypse Now, like when you watch the crew, like the
PBR,
Martin Sheen, Martin Sheen's like crew or whatever, like they start out as this like, oh, we're like young, we're lively, we're just cool guys, Vietnam War people, and then by the end they just go insane. They're just like, this one guy's like carrying around this dog that they shot, like the owner that they shot or whatever, and like everyone's just like, it's you can see the clear descent into madness in that film, but in this one they're just like, it feels like they're telling me but without showing me, but even then they just barely told me anyway. So it's like, it's like in premise, it's I get what Alex Garland is going for with a lot of these moments. I get like the point that he's trying to make. It's just the way he's going about them is just so terribly like presented and so terribly coordinated. It's like it just feels somehow both rushed and slow at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, it's like we're just trying to get from one set piece to the next, but also like take its sweet ass time with each like episodic set piece to really hammer in this theme
that's what I'm
about like
talking about, like,
desensitizing war.
he can't
or
decide
whatever,
what kind of film he wants to make.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would have been fine either way. If he wanted to make a stupid action movie like
think it would have
Dread,
been-
cool, make that. If you wanted to make like something,
I think it would have been quite an interesting
sorry.
choice that if he never showed anything at all. Like I was thinking about like Andrei Tarkovsky's Ivan's Childhood, where you never see any of the battles, even though it's like a devastating war, and you really feel how devastating it is. But it's just like it's all you only ever see aftermaths of it, and I think that would have been quite an interesting choice to like show like how the war kind of affects Americans and like how they have this perception of like everything else is outside like our own shores. So when it comes to our own borders, how it affects us,
Yeah, no, I completely... It's definitely the most sort of like boneheaded approach he could have taken to this sort of
boneheaded
material.
approach is, I think, the best phrase to use for this film.
It's-
it certainly feels boneheaded.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we were talking about sort of stylistic choices on how he could have done this differently. Like we were talking, like we briefly mentioned, like World War Z and that sort of thing. And I don't know if anyone will agree with me, but like I had the thought halfway through of like it would have been interesting. I don't know if this sort of stylistic filming technique is completely like just dead in the water by this point. But I don't know if like a found footage approach would have made this a bit more sort of grittier and livelier.
I was thinking
Would've
about
liked
like
that.
how
that goes in line with
this is sort of a nitpick, and I don't like to bring up these points often because I think it's like not really real criticism, but it's just kind of adding to like how strange the world building is. But I was thinking like throughout, like where are all the people with like body cams and stuff, like the officers with body cams, or where are like the amateur like influencers, like, or people like just documenting this on their phones? Like it's such a weird thing where it's like are people only taking photographs in this world? Like, is that how everyone is getting their news? Like, if you wrote
That's a good point. I
to
didn't
be
think
like
of
in a
that.
post January 6th
Apparently,
world,
yeah.
it's like you must not, you don't understand like how people are getting their information. Like I consume like most of my news just over like things that people are sharing on like Twitter or Reddit, because most news is just
Right.
like things that people upload from their phones just on a
Apparently
Twitter.
phones don't exist in this
Yeah,
universe.
I was like,
You
what the
see what I
fuck?
mean when like this film it has such a shitty approach to world building. Like it just presents the idea of world building, but it doesn't it doesn't do anything about it. It's just like the more you think about like the logic and like rules of this universe, like the less it makes sense. You know, like it it's yeah.
Yeah, like there would be people like
You mentioned
running
the found
around like
footage thing,
filming
Jack.
from like every apartment building, like every angle.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, like you mentioned the found footage thing, Jack. Like I think that's another great idea. Like aside from like the pseudo documentary thing, like if they approached this as like in the same veins as something like Wreck or something,
It would
like
have been different.
that would have been a
because
cool approach too.
no one's shooting
Yeah,
their
so-
movies like that anymore. Like I know that was like the big thing, like you know, at the height of like paranormal activity and that sort of shit. But like you don't see found footage stuff anymore. And like done right, sort of like I'm trying to think of like a good example of something like Chronicle. Like, does anyone remember
I
Chronicle?
remember Chronicle.
I
That's a
haven't
good
seen
movie.
Chronicle's a good approach to a found footage movie, and I think if Civil War sort of like did that same sort of thing, I think it would have been a bit. I think
That's also because
People
that also
made-
that movie's
yeah.
fight scenes also like some of it was taking place on like security cameras, some of it was taking place from like helicopters, some
Yeah,
of it was
like
just like a
helicopter
guy
footage, so it's
like
like
a
a
guy
good-
was just filming from his
Yeah.
apartment and stuff. Like it's a much better approach. I
yeah,
think.
and it's like good technique because he's got
That's how
like
they
powers
shot-
and he can make his camera fly, so you get a good excuse to get some nice sweeping crane shots.
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
you could use that technique.
we keep
yeah.
saying it. It's like there are so many like cool and unique ways this movie could have approached its subject matter, but it just went for the safest, lamest approach ever. You know, like it's.
I think it was that he
I
was
mean, I
just
get that they're
terrified of
trying
discourse,
to
to
be
be
like
honest.
marketable because like what then? Why did you call your movie
I don't
Civil
know.
War? And
Because
why
he
did
wants
you
to
set
have
it
his cake and eat
in
it
a
too, I think.
post-January
I think
6th
that's
alternate
basically what it
America?
is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you can't do one thing and then say the other thing at the same time. You know, like this shouldn't be a movie where both like hardcore Trump supporters and like progressive liberals can like both watch and enjoy
Yeah.
and get something.
I mean,
like,
the end is
that
basically
shouldn't
just
be-
their
that shouldn't
fantasy
have
of
been
like
the main
executing
mission
the
of this.
president. Like you can imprint whichever like Trump, Biden, whatever you want onto it.
You can project whoever the hell you want in that moment, and it is equally satisfying and like fan fiction-y for both sides of the political aisle. It's so dumb and it's so idiotic and it's so just juvenile. Like the whole film is so juvenile. Like the last 30 minutes especially is just the most juvenile ass shit ever. It's like, this movie is literally just the basic, like it's no different from
JC
like
Penney's has
an anime
been
power
destroyed.
fantasy where you can just project yourself onto whoever you want, you know? It's like, yeah, it's just Jesus Christ.
We've
you
talked
know,
about this
it's-
movie a long time.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, when I said I was gonna get mad watching this movie with Jack, I didn't expect it to be this long, the mad for this long. But there you go, I guess. So,
Yeah, I guess Alex Garland really gets us talking.
sorry, Luca. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Yeah, Luca, did you have anything else you wanted to add? We've been talking a lot, and I feel like
I
we've been.
think you guys kind of
overshadowing
really
it,
milked
so-
it to the last drop, honestly. Like, I don't even know what I could say.
Professional dairy farmers.
Yeah, literally. Fucking poor little cow. Guys have fucking squeezed the life out of it.
Poor little Civil War cow.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know what I really could add. Just very. I agree with you guys entirely. I think I wasn't really as hard on the journalism stuff. I think there actually was some creative sparks there.
Yeah,
but
I
like
think so too.
like you guys said, trying to balance the journalist stuff with all these action scenes where they literally like pretty much are useless. Like it's all wishy-washy, it's all over the place. It didn't find its footing of what I wanted to say. And also, yeah, I completely agree. Something that I actually wish is that I wish, I don't care where this film went politically, honestly. I don't care if Alex Garland is the biggest conservative in the world, if he wanted to be.
That would be
At
funny if
least
that
the
was true.
movie- At least the movie.
Yeah, that would have been that would be hilarious.
It would have been interesting, you know. It would have been fun to make fun of, you know. But like this is like something that just like is nothing, you know. Like Like I actually
Like,
wish
I'm gonna
it
forget about
went.
this. I already forgot, like, most of it. Yeah.
I wish it went somewhere politically, even if it wasn't a political angle that I agreed with, you know? Because at least it would have said something,
Yeah.
you know? Like, because this film just has, like, yeah, it's nothing. And I brought this up, like, it's funny that, like how ambitious the title is. Like, yeah, Timmy was saying, like, Civil War to just absolutely, like it's like no different to the Captain America Civil War, in the sense where, like, like the title literally means
Movie had
nothing.
more to say than this one, if you can believe it.
I don't know about
the
that.
Captain America Civil
I
War
don't know
has
about
more
that.
to say
I
than
don't
That
this
movie
one.
has even more dumb characters, to be honest.
And I just wanted to
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
I wanted to mention that, because you guys were going really hard on how this movie doesn't say anything, and I just wanted to say that it's completely fine for a movie to not want to say
Oh,
anything.
yeah, definitely,
But like when you're presenting yourself,
Yeah, that's
like,
fine.
this politically, when you're presenting yourself, when you are dropping
In this
lines,
context, yeah.
what kind of American are you?
Yeah.
In the fucking
When you're
trailer?
saying stuff like Antifa massacre.
Yeah, like.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Like,
that's
you
right.
you have to start
Defund the
somewhere.
FBI,
You
yeah.
can't start nowhere. That is not how you make. That is not how you comment on stuff like this.
Like, don't be a
But-
fucking
Yeah,
coward.
there's a
Jesus
difference
Christ.
between this and then something like
Children of Men.
There's a difference between this and then something like, say, I don't know, like Die Hard or whatever. Like, Die Hard is just a plain old action movie that's, like, really well made. Like, I'm not expecting some deep political,
Yeah,
like,
this
themes or
isn't-
conversations
this
from
isn't
Die
Top Gun
Hard.
Maverick. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care if that movie doesn't want to pick like
That movie's
highlight its
anti-Iran.
enemies or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's just like it's just some bros like
Also-
flying planes.
Yeah,
like
flying
that's
ga-
it. Like it
flying
doesn't
planes
need
and
to be
being
any
gay.
deeper than that.
Also, let's just end it with this.
Yeah.
But fuck A24. Fuck your stupid
Yes.
AI posters.
Fucking-
Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck
that
you.
was
Fuck
that
this-
Literally false
Oh, yeah,
marketing
that's
as well.
right.
Fuck this movie.
I'm
Fuck this movie.
That was
Okay,
kind of strange,
next thing.
actually. Yeah, that's a good point.
really glad they decided to drop that information. 2 weeks after
Ironic
the
that
movie came out.
Alex Garland
So,
made
great one,
made
guys.
Ex Machina as well, which is literally about AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
thinking the exact same thing. So
Yeah, all
But
you
yeah,
bitches
I guess-
that
I guess
said
we
men
milked
had
this
nothing to say.
con-
Watch this motherfucking movie.
Yeah.
Fuck you all.
What kind of
I
men
think I
are
might
you?
retroactively bump. What kind of
Yeah, what kind of men are you?
now that we're men. Now that we're men. Yeah, so I might retroactively bump up my score
Also,
for men just
Fuck
out of
you for
spite
Yay.
making, like,
with
a
this
guy,
movie.
like,
Yeah.
wear nail polish with a sniper, and then like make him like such a lame ass character that does nothing. Fuck you guys as well.
Yeah, he should have tagged along
Fuck
and
you.
been in the rest of the movie.
Fuck you. Fuck this movie.
It should have just been the main
Um,
character.
More from Nail Polish Sniper Man.
Anyway, I think
Yeah.
we milked this movie for all it's worth.
Yeah.
The udder has been
5
completely
out of 10.
fucking destroyed, so I think we should move on to this next one. Yeah, 5 out of 10. I also agree that's my rating. Personally, I would like to give it a lower score because from the tone of my voice it makes it sound like I should give it a lower score, but like I have to be kind of fair and like admit that like individual scenes did things
Yeah, I've
very
been a bit
well,
too
and the
scathing.
sound design is really great, and like it looks nice, the cinematography is great, but it's like there's just so much bullshit that just pisses me off where it's like it is infuriating, but like to give it the benefit of the doubt, to give it some credit, I think a 5 out of 10 is an appropriate score for me.
Yeah. To be fair, that Jesse Plemons scene, that goes really fucking hard. That was a great scene.
That's going to be the
That
only
was a
thing.
last minute
great
hire.
scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the only thing anyone remembers from this movie.
No, literally. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the only scene that's gonna trend on TikTok, and like that's what's gonna drive people to watch it. It's like, whoa, what is this scene that I saw on
I wonder-
TikTok?
Yeah.
It's
Because,
like,
like,
it's made for that
Jack
purpose.
said he liked this movie, but kind of because like ironic enjoyment, right, Jack?
Yeah, well, I liked it on. I think my main attraction to it was just purposely the filmmaking technique that Garland. Like I was genuinely interested on sort of the look on this movie because it kind of when the trailers were coming out, it sort of had that low sort of, directed video sort of look to it, where it looked a little bit cheaper than his because like Ex Machina, your Annihilations, your Men's sort of look more like a real movie, where this sort of looked more sort of, I don't know, like just
Gritty.
more grittier, low rent. It just looked cheaper too, which I sort of was attracted by. I was like, okay, this is interesting. So yeah, that's why I was sort of gravitated towards it so much, and just sort of like the last 5 minutes I was kind of astonished by on how kind of silly and like I've mentioned, boneheaded it got.
So I wonder, like, I want to hear someone's thoughts on this movie that like genuinely liked it for like the themes or whatever, because
that's the thing. I was talking to a few buddies about, because they were texting me and they were like, oh, I really liked your review, like I was really taken with Civil War and sort of the themes that it was going for, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, okay, you don't get it then, because it's like this is really a pretty fucking stupid movie.
Yeah, I want to see, like, because I know some people like really really loved this, and I just want to know what about this they love, that hasn't already been better done in like other movies like this. Like, I don't know what value I would get out of this. I would rather just rewatch Full Metal Jacket or something, like I don't ever want to watch this again. Why would I? Like, I'm not going to get anything out of a second watch, so no.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever watch this again, to be honest.
And if the rumors are
Watch
true,
Full Metal Jacket, and
if the rumors are true, and this is Alex Garland's last movie, what a final fucking last shot to end on.
apparently
your career
it's
on.
not. Apparently,
Yeah,
like,
apparently
he
he's
was
making
like,
another
he
film
walked
called
back on his
Warfare.
statement that like he's retiring.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
apparently he's doing another war movie,
Oh,
which
no.
you don't
No,
need
Yeah,
to do
no,
that.
no,
No.
thanks,
No.
mate.
Go
I
back
don't-
to your
no,
sci-fi
no.
bullshit,
Ju-
please.
See, I really like Garland's career purposely because he each and every single one of his movies so far has been so tonally different. So for him to sort of like,
Sure.
I guess Annihilation and Ex Machina share some similarity, but like
They're
sort of
different.
like do something completely
Make
different
Dread
now.
too.
Yeah, fuck
I
it.
know it wasn't a box office success, but Do you guys think he'll direct one of those? Because apparently him and Danny Boyle are making like a trilogy of like
No,
28
he's
Days
already
Later
said he's not
sequels or
directing
Yeah,
that.
whatever.
so even
You
if he
think might
directed
direct
that,
one of those?
I'd be fine
Okay,
with that.
Yeah.
I reckon that would
Even
be
though
a
I
pretty
just
good fit for him, honestly.
doubt any of those would
I
be
mean,
any good.
it could be good. I mean, Danny Boyle is a competent director.
What's he done recently though?
Nothing.
Yesterday? No, the movie
Yeah.
Yesterday. Like, I didn't mean like yesterday. Like he did something like the movie.
Oh, the
Yesterday
Beatles
with
movie.
Yeah, that's the last thing
Yeah,
he's
the
done.
Beatles
Yeah, that was
movie,
terrible.
but without the
That was
Beatles.
terrible, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
terrible.
He did, apparently he made a play of
I
The
didn't-
Matrix.
I didn't care.
But that's it.
Okay.
How does that?
I don't know.
How does that work? Yeah.
Do you
and
guys
he
ever
did, I
forget
didn't
that he
care for
won
Steve
Best
Jobs
Director? That
whatsoever.
he's a
Yeah.
Best Director
Yeah.
winning director.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I'm very behind on Danny Boyle's stuff. I still haven't seen.
Every once in a while, I'm just like, oh
Slumdog
yeah, that
or
guy's won
Trainspotting.
Best Director
Trainspotting's
before.
very good.
Trainspotting is like one of the best films of all
I mean,
time.
who knows? You remember he was supposed to direct that last Bond movie, but then he said Heat. Yeah, so
I still think 28 Days Later is still his
I like
best
that movie a lot,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
very
Do you like
good.
Sunshine?
I haven't seen Sunshine.
I
John
haven't
was
seen it.
That's
John
one of
was
the- that's
talking to
one
me
of the
about
first
Sunshine
ones.
the other
That's
day.
one
He's
of
like,
the
"You gotta
ones I
check this
haven't
out," and I was like, "I'll get around to that." Yeah.
And Alex Garland also wrote that.
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
What about the
yeah.
the beach?
I've heard that's
Not
bad.
old, the beach with Leo. Yeah.
Leo, yes. I haven't seen that. That's him too, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
That's
no,
Danny
that's
Boyle.
based on his
Boyle,
novel.
which was weird
'Cause
because
he
like
used to be a
it's based
novelist.
on a book that Alex Garland wrote, but he didn't write the script for the beach, which I think is a weird
John
choice.
Hodge
But
wrote
whatever.
the screenplay for that.
Yeah. Speaking of movies
Yeah.
that. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, finish your thing. I was gonna say, speaking of movies that Jack has never seen,
time
I
to-
guess we could talk about our recommendation.
Time for me to lock in and
Yeah.
crack my knuckles.
Oh yeah, get into it, man.
Yeah. So this is technically my recommendation, although let's be honest, this is Jack's recommendation. He just kind of, to quote Sam Jackson from The Other Guys, he shoved his arm up my ass and worked my mouth like a puppet. So
Yes. You're very kind to pass
yeah,
the torch
I mean,
on to me.
you should be thanking.
Well,
you guys
yeah.
should be thanking him because Speed Racer was legitimately
Let's-
like a movie we were thinking
Should we
about,
set
and
up
we
this?
avoided that bullet. Like,
Because for months and months.
So I can explain the plot, but
Yeah.
if you want to explain the plot or whatever, because this is what you wanted us to talk about, then yeah, go ahead.
No, I was
So,
just going to say for months and months, we've been planning this, and for the longest time it was going to be Speed Racer, which is a movie
Oh yeah.
that I love
Yeah,
very much, and sort of
And I think. Well, if we ever talk about Speed Racer, then we can have you back on for the third time. So, because yeah, I legitimately like Speed Racer was something we legitimately talked about and said you should come on for this movie specifically because us three, the boys, we do not like this movie at all. And but you actually really like it, so it would have been
No,
interesting to hear
I
your
don't
perspective
hate it.
on the film. So yeah, well. Anyway, well, it's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about Speed Racer. We're talking about
Oh wait, you're
something
talking about
else.
Speed Racer.
Miami
Oh, sorry, I
Vice.
thought you were talking about
No,
Miami
wait, what were you
Vice.
talking? Wait, no, I was talking about. We were talking about Speed
Yeah,
Racer.
no, I don't
for
like Speed Racer.
Good,
Oh,
because
my
we
bad,
were
Jack.
saying like
For the longest time, this
yeah, we were
episode was going
talking
to be
about
Speed Racer.
yeah, it was going to be Speed Racer, but then Jack just changed his mind on the last
Yeah,
minute.
you did a Quentin Tarantino.
So be thankful.
Jack didn't
Yeah,
change his
he
mind.
pulled a
You
movie
made us
critic.
choose.
No, okay, so here's the thing. Speed Racer was always going to be in consideration no matter what, but then Jack was like, "Oh wait, no, I also would like to talk about Miami Vice at some point." So I was like, "Well, okay, then we'll just make Luca and Jules choose then and see and make them pick." And I wouldn't say what the movies were, but they were going to pick. And if Speed Racer was one of two options is what I'm saying. So this was going to be in consideration no matter what, but then Jack changed his mind in the last minute and said, "No, I actually do want to just talk about Miami Vice." So, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
Always.
that's the super overcomplicated story of how we got
The
to this
history, the
moment.
lore.
Yeah, and I put in more thought. I put in more effort into the lore of this story than Alex Garland ever did with Civil War. So, but anyway, so yeah, this was mine/Jack's recommendation. Miami Vice, directed by Michael Mann. It's opposite day. And it's a remake or adaptation. Which would you say is more appropriate? Because I know it's based on a TV show of like the same name, but I don't know if it's like adapting specific episodes of like the show or if this is its own original thing. Like you would know more about this. Jack,
its
than
own
I do,
original
so.
thing from, as Timmy mentioned, the based on the TV show by the same name, which also Michael Mann started. Michael Mann was he
was like an executive producer or something,
yeah,
right?
So for me, this movie I've always considered the ultimate sort of, even though like anyone unfamiliar with me or my podcast, Heat is my movie. Heat, that's like my number one of all time. That's my crowning diamond. Michael Mann is my favorite filmmaker, but for me, I've always considered Miami Vice like the ultimate Michael Mann movie.
Okay.
In terms of like this one gets it. This one it really taps into all of his sort of idiosyncrasies. We will talk about this in just a moment, but did you want me to quickly jump into the plot?
Yeah, you want to explain the plot. Yeah, you seem very intimately familiar,
The
so yeah, go ahead.
excruciatingly simple yet convoluted plot of Miami Vice, which sort of follows two Miami detectives or police or Sonny and Tubbs, who sort of get mixed up in their own personal lives, get intertwined with this sort of crime saga of, you've got drug cartels, you've got white supremacists, and sort of Colin Farrell's character, Sonny, sort of gets intimately involved with a love interest on the opposite side of the law. And the movie sort of explores sort of the deep cover of sort of the law enforcement and how you get so you're in so deep you forget who you are. Sort of your codes of honor, which Michael Mann really loves, is his codes of honor and his lock focused manly men.
That is true. I never thought of that as being like a shared theme in all of his
every single one of his
movies.
movies.
That's a good point. Yeah, I've never thought about it like that. But yeah,
every single one of his
prism.
movies features. Yes. Every single one of his movies features a lock-focused man with the sort of doomed romantic life, trying to escape. So they're always sort of the shark that can't stop moving. Sort of get involved in these sort of romances. And these romances sort of serve as like a gateway out of their prison.
God, I'm truly having like a Russell Crowe, The Beautiful Mind, where like he's connecting all the dots and like all the math.
Never realized
because when you
this?
said doomed romance, I was like, that is another share, because I didn't realize this either. I'm dumb if you couldn't tell. I'm stupid. I didn't realize that.
To be fair, you haven't really seen
No,
any of his
I just
movies.
look
romance
far
wasn't
too.
that.
I just look too much into Michael Mann movies that's needed to
I
be.
guess it wasn't that doomed in Collateral, because like,
Well, we will talk.
Gloria
Yeah.
from Madagascar didn't, die or anything in that one, so that went pretty okay.
And you just watched
So-
Collateral for the first time, is
Yeah,
that correct?
so I watched
you view
Collateral for the
Collateral as a
first time
gay-
before I saw this one, because I know.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of is. No, the reason why I watched Collateral first, because I know Collateral was like the start of Michael Mann's transition from film to digital. Like that was his first like foray into digital filmmaking. So I just wanted to familiarize with myself with like how Mann like shoots things on digital, like, and how he like how like the cinematography changes between when he shoots on film and shoots on digital. Because one thing I really noticed, because I'm only using Heat as an example because that's the only like other Mann film that I'm intimately familiar with, was when he shoots things on film, like it's a lot more like static shots, a lot more like shots that are like in focus, and there is camera movement, but not like, it's still relatively like static. But when you start shooting on digital, on like Collateral and stuff, there's a lot more like handheld cam movement and stuff, a lot more just movement from the camera in general. You're like following along, like you're almost like there as like a character observing the events in Collateral,
Absolutely.
as much as like the characters themselves are characters. And I guess he kind of went for the same thing in this one too, but like I was not at, well, okay, I'm gonna share my feelings later. So Jack, if you wanted to continue explaining the plot or share your feelings first, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, it's the plot of the 2006 Miami Vice, unbearably simple yet incredibly complicated, way more than it needs to be. But I feel in the end result, the plot is not the point. Like most of Mann's digital age movies, it's just sort of like, you got to meet it on that very specific wavelength of, it's more, I compare sort of like the digital age Mann to something like a Tony Scott movie, where the whole movie sort of feels like an elongated music video. It's just like one gorgeous shot after another gorgeous shot. And the plot is completely incidental.
Funny you mentioned that, because like half the scenes in this movie just felt like, am I watching a music video?
Yes.
Like it certainly felt that
I
way.
think it's absolutely purposefully done that way too. Because it's man at this point in his career was just so confident with sort of trying out different stylistic techniques, where like the first time I watched this movie, I was so turned off by it just on how it looked. If I can get really specific right off the bat, before
go ahead.
Before I actually jump into that, which version did we all watch?
John told me to watch the theatrical cut, so I just watched
I
that.
had
But
no
it was
idea,
really
so I
just
have
whatever
no
version
idea
I
what
found
version I
on
watched.
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know
I
there
just
was a
watched the
director's
version
cut
that was
until
on
like
binge.
days before I saw it.
Yes. Yes. Very good. Luca, what version did you watch?
Quick, someone get her picture. We gotta document this moment.
I think she's stirring her pasta or whatever. She'll be along.
Yeah, I think she's cooking or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
Shall I
Yeah, just continue,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I managed to finally get my hands on the director's cut today. So that's the cut I watched for the first time in preparation for doing this. And it is not as good as the theatrical cut because, as I said, sort of getting specific right off the bat, the first time I watched this, I was so turned off by... In retrospect, I fucking love it now and like can't go 24 hours without thinking about it. Just the drop in of how this movie starts at the nightclub, of the numb encore beat. Literally you get the Universal logo and then boom, you're in the movie. Is like, I think stands the test of time for me of just like, I'm just I fangirl out. I just cannot believe on sort of the immediate nature on how this movie starts.
Yeah.
No, it certainly makes a lasting impression. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, how like when you first saw this, you weren't into it because of how it looked. I felt like I had the opposite reaction because the way the film looked visually wasn't what I had issue with. I actually liked the cinematography of the movie. I thought that was easily like the best part about the movie. I liked how almost like ethereal it looked. Like it very much doesn't look like a typical like crime movie, if that makes sense. Like I was watching this and I've never even seen a Harmony Korine film, but I immediately just realized, oh yeah, I understand why Harmony Korine really likes this movie, because
Yes.
apparently it was an inspiration for him. This movie was an inspiration for him when he was making
Spring
what was
Breakers.
it called? Spring Breakers?
Yeah, there's
so-
definitely an influence there. I will give quick
Yeah,
context. The reason I didn't like this movie when I first saw it, I was quite young, and I'd never. This was brand new. I'd never seen any movie like this before, and it was like so alien to
Oh, okay.
me. But obviously,
Gotcha.
over time, I think this is just genuinely just one of the most gorgeous movies I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
visually the film looks great. I still think even to this day, I think the best thing I can say about the movie and what I find most admirable about the movie is that like it really doesn't matter about the fact that this is called Miami Vice, like it's based on like the TV show that's like super popular with boomers or whatever. It was just an excuse for him to essentially make like an experimental blockbuster. Like he just like, because I'm sure like what he cared about more was the whole like look of the film, getting that like ethereal music video vibey like visuals from the movie, and like it just happened to be attached to this thing called Miami Vice. So I kind of like respect it for that, you know, like he didn't want to make some like simple, like he didn't just want to get like Don Johnson again or some shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like he actually wanted to try something new, and you can tell because like I think he said like he even stated that he purposely like did not include the theme song of like Miami Vice, the TV show, like into this movie because he wanted to like make it clear that this is trying to be its own thing. And you know, that is the best thing I can say about the movie. That is, you know, the most interesting part about the movie.
There is one
I
connecting
think for
tissue.
me-
But sorry to cut you off there. We
No,
will
no,
we will get into
please,
it
go ahead,
into a
yeah.
second. There is one big sort of connecting tissue between this and the TV show, which is music related, and it's
Sure.
probably the biggest black spot on the movie, which I just fucking
Is
hate.
it the Phil Collins
It's
song?
the Phil. It's the Phil Collins song cover of. I think Non-Point is the band. It's the worst fucking cover.
Yeah, I was like, what the
It's
fuck is
so
this?
bad,
Yeah,
and I
was
think
like, what?
I think
Yeah.
both the theatrical cut and the director's cut have that song at two different points. I'm pretty sure the director's cut has it placed at like during the big final shootout, which is just atrocious. But I think in the theatrical cut, it's actually played over the credits, which I'm fine with because by
Yeah,
the
then that
way,
was the
so-
version I watched.
if I can, like, I think this movie's
yeah,
genuinely perfect. But if I was to have one criticism with it, it's that fucking song.
I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I'm glad you brought out the. Well, okay. Before I go into specifics, I feel like everyone should do a round on their initial thoughts first. So, I mean, Jack obviously likes it. You know, he just said
Just a
favorite,
little bit.
Like, he used the word favorite 6 times. So you know, so yeah. So, what did you guys think about Miami Vice?
It's an interesting. I watched this with my dad, by the way, who's like number one Michael Mann fan besides Jack, I guess. And it was. It's a weird film because I can say I did enjoy it, but I think it's also a very messy film. There's a lot to it I like, but there's a lot to it that I don't like. Namely, I think I know you guys were talking about the visual style of the movie. Personally, I very much disagree. I think the film looks like shit visually.
Wow.
But
Okay.
because like
It literally looks like
this
a
was in the
GTA
time. This was it. Yeah, because I understand the
It
Harmony
does,
Korine.
yeah, it does kind of look like a GTA game.
I understand
like
the Harmony Korine influence, but I'm assuming what he got out of it was just like the way the color saturation is used to portray like this area of Florida. But personally, I thought that the way, because this is obviously in the era of like 28 Days Later, where like digital film cameras like they weren't as good as they were now, except for when like David Lynch used them for like
yeah,
Inland
it's
Empire.
not like David Fincher.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like David Fincher, like clean, you know, like procedural type.
Yeah,
of
they
film. Like,
they
this
were
is-
still kind
this
of
is the complete
finding
opposite
their,
of like
their
how
footing,
David Fincher
like
would shoot.
how they looked and stuff, and it leads to like some of like
Yeah, this is
the most obvious example of it is like when they're going through the trailer park at night to rescue the lady, and the fucking grain on the camera just
Naomi
looks
Harris.
like shit. Like I was not.
Oh no, Jules.
I was not a fan of all the handheld either. I thought it was really, really, really distracting. Like the way, like especially in every scene that was set at night, I thought it just looked bad. Besides like the final kind of shootout, I thought that looked alright. But yeah, I like
Really?
I
'Cause,
like
like,
the
I
two
feel like
leads.
for
They have
me,
like
the
great
final
chemistry, and I like the kind of like the very overcomplicated, even though it doesn't need to be, nature of it. Even though I think like some of the story beats are a bit
All the-
rough to me. But yeah,
All the
that-
beefy dialogue.
yeah, all the beefy dialogue. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's my kind of
God, I
initial
love it.
thoughts. I know I just dropped like 10 hot takes there.
Oh my
no,
god.
I was gonna. I both agree and disagree with you, but yeah, I'll let Luca have her initial thoughts first as well before I say what I gotta say.
No, guys, like when I watched this movie, I was literally like, this is just Grand Theft Auto. Like I was joking when I said that about Thief, but this like literally just is. Like I don't know why, but
Yeah.
the way that camera moved, like it literally moved like a video game cutscene at points. It was weird.
It's just GTA Vice City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that boat scene in the very beginning, like that felt like I was playing a game. And that honestly isn't really a bad thing because weirdly, I am mixed on the visual style of the movie. There were parts of it that I liked, and there were parts of it that I didn't like. Maybe it's my bias talking, but all of the stuff on the water was actually really cool, the way that they shot it and the way that it looked. But all
Yeah.
of like the stuff like in like the parties or in the clubs or just like on the docks and everything, it just looked like really weird. Like it was like and that's the point where I come agree when I come to agree with Jules. Like it's like super shaky for no reason, like lots of close-up stuff, like that just looks really strange. Like yeah, I don't know, like it kind of felt like a camera was not supposed to be there when these things were happening. Like if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe it.
No,
Yeah.
I actually 100% agree because like so I should re-clarify what my so for me I actually liked the visuals for the most part. I actually did not like the visuals actually when action scenes were happening. Like I thought like the gunfights and like the action scenes themselves were just so atrociously dog shit to look at. I did not like how like you mentioned that Jules you actually liked the final. I actually did not like how the final fight was just shot in general. Like it felt at times it felt like teenagers like shooting their guns at like you know like a teenage like like high school movie or something where like the camera's running around or whatever and there's so much shaky cam. I'm just like Jesus, just let me breathe. Like I could barely tell what was going on in action scenes. The scene where they rescuing Naomi Harris wasn't bad. It wasn't like it wasn't the worst thing ever, and I was just like, this isn't as well shot as like you know like because when they're out in like the sea like riding boats or whatever, or they're in parties and stuff like that. I actually liked the way those scenes looked, but it's when like action scenes are involved where I'm just like taken aback and I'm just like, oh god, maybe this wasn't as good visually as I thought it was. Maybe this doesn't look as nice as it was because like the final shootout, it just felt like I was watching some weird MTV like reality show or something. I was just like, what is this? Like I wasn't really vibing with like how the action scenes were shot, but like everything else, I liked the way they looked. I liked how the colors are mixed together with like the visuals and stuff. It's you know it's yeah.
I think
Even when it's just two characters talking, it's just like, yeah, this looks good.
Yeah.
I liked this.
I think
so, yeah.
the thing with the action sequences is like man is a filmmaker who's very obsessed with like sort of the verisimilitude of the day-to-day life of these like sort of law obsessed cops. So I think like whether or not it completely works for you, he's just trying to be as sort of tactical on the ground, like up in the gunfights as close as he can get, just to get sort of that incredibly imposing, like we talked about with like Civil War, with how sort of the gunfire sounds, sort of I think we all agreed it reminds us of sort of like how Michael Mann
I'm glad you mentioned the sound design because I was honestly super disappointed by that because, like,
Really?
I don't know what he did differently in this one, but like the gun sound effects in this one honestly sounded fucking awful. Like I did not like how guns like because what I like about Michael Mann's movies, especially the sound design of his movies, is that when someone shoots a gun outside, like you can feel the impact
Yeah,
and
like all
like
the guns
the
shooting
ripple
in
effect
heat.
of the gun sound effect because it feels because it sounds like someone is actually shooting a gun like on camera, like on location, you know, and like it in Michael Mann's just taking the sound of the actual gun firing and putting it in the movie, like you said, Jules, in Heat and in Collateral especially. But in this one, it just felt like Michael Mann just put in shitty like COD gun sound effects at this
The
one. Like it
sound
just did
design
not
is
sound right to me at
is
all. It didn't
bad.
sound good.
Interesting. See, I think it does. I think the
Yeah, I hated the sound
It's
design in this
terrible.
one.
Yeah.
And it's weird because that's what I like Michael Mann for.
Yeah,
you
which
know,
is-
like
it's
is
so
the
weird
sound
for him.
design of his movies.
It's like he's usually
See, I think
amazing
it's
with that sound design.
Yeah, that's interesting because, like, I think obviously, like, you know, I think of the sound design back in Heat in the sort of the bank robbery shootout.
Oh
which
yeah,
just
it's
sounds
just
incredible.
amazing.
While I think this, personally, I think this sounds just as sort of intimidating, scary, and alien. It does sound a bit different too, because obviously I don't think you could ever sort of replicate on how the guns sound in Heat. But you know, I don't know whether or not this just be a completely different shift in sort of his filmmaking nature, where, you know, relation to the whole digital switch. It might just be the impact
yeah,
on that.
maybe
But I
the
think
digital
I think
cameras
it
had
must be the
something to do
digital
with
Possibly.
it. Yeah, but at the same time,
I think this sounds just
but
as
at the same
scary.
time that. But at the same time, that doesn't explain like how like the gun sound effects in Collateral
Yeah,
like
sure.
sounds very good. Like when Tom Cruise like shoots the guys who are just like yo homie or whatever, you know, like that sounded really visceral. Like that was really
Yo,
really
homie, is
great.
that my briefcase?
But in this one, it everything felt so. Yeah, and then but the sound effects in this one, everything felt so fake and artificial. Like it really adds to the video gaming nature that Luca was mentioning.
Yeah.
It sounded like I was listening to a video game. It's like this doesn't sound good at all.
Whether or
like,
not-
it sounds awful.
I think the only sort of thing I can sort of defend that for is like sort of with all the gunshots that happen in both Heat and Collateral, they all happen in sort of like alleyways or closed off sort of you know, little buildings where, you know, most of Miami Vice's action sequences are in large sort of fields or air, like you know, as we've talked about, that final big shootout happens in like a giant sort of area, like an open spaced area. So I don't know whether or not it's just like sort of the echoing of like these incredibly scary sounding like just gunfire that's like the echo adds to it, whether or not it's different from like sort of shooting these guns in an open
But I
area.
remember like distinctly
Yeah,
that there was like at that like final shootout, like one of the guys had like a shotgun, and like the shotgun didn't sound like anything. Like it was just like like, and a shotgun is like that shit's
Yeah.
loud. That will like pierce your ears. Like
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was, and the sound effects in general, on top of them sounding fake and artificial, they were like strangely quiet.
I
I was
know.
like, is there something wrong with
I
my
know.
headphones? Like, like I was like, why is the sound so
Fucking-
quiet?
2005 ass like digital capture camera sounds.
But again, it's like that wasn't a problem in Collateral, and Collateral was 4
Yeah.
years before this one.
Was it?
Collateral
I think
was
so, right?
2004,
Let me look
yeah.
at it.
And then Collateral was 2004. This was
Wait.
06. So he made these pretty much
so
back
it's
to
2
back.
years.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Um,
yeah, I don't know what happened. Yeah, because again, like
I guess he just
it's what
he was
that's
trying
like,
to experiment with
I know
some shit.
sound is such a weird. Maybe, but it's like that. But that's what I know. It's a weird thing to focus on the sound, but the sound design is what I love most about Michael Mann as a filmmaker. Like his
Absolutely.
sound,
Yeah,
the
just
way
so
he
real
the way
and
he
so
approaches
just
sound in
intense.
his movies is so. Yeah, it's so real and it's so uniquely him. Like I don't think I've heard another movies like, especially how gunshots sound like in his movies, sound anything else like from any other like action movie or something, you know. But then like I don't know what the fuck happened with this one where it's just like. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the sound, maybe like the sound editor he was working with, like that he worked on Heat and Collateral, just wasn't on this one. He hired someone else. Who knows? Like I don't know what happened, but it's like it's just not on the same level, and it was really, really disappointing. I was like, wow, like this is just not up to par of what I expect from man, you know? But whatever. Anyway, like moving aside from all the technical stuff, so yeah, so I guess I would say I'm more on Jack's side, where it's like I do think for the most part the film looks visually impressive, aside from, like I said, the action scenes, which I did not think were very well shot at all. I think, taking aside that, I feel like the movie just doesn't offer anything else of interest to me whatsoever. Like, I guess, like, technically the movie is interesting and, like, it is well made and, you know, that's the best thing about it. But, like, there is nothing else about this movie that, like, that appeals to me or interests me. Like, to me, this was like at most, this was like a passive watch. I was passively interested in what was going on, but I was never, engaged or interested. I did not care for the characters whatsoever. I thought they were just fine. Like, I didn't think like Colin Farrell or Jamie Foxx gave like bad performances, but they were just like, it felt like they were just playing like versions of themselves I already know. It's like, oh, that's Colin Farrell with an American accent, and that's just Jamie Foxx playing Jamie Foxx. Like, it didn't feel like they were playing characters. And then like the doomed romance in this one just didn't feel like strong to me at all. Like I wasn't because I wasn't attached to any of the characters at all. I just didn't give a shit about the romance between Gong Li and Colin Farrell like whatsoever.
Time
it's
is
like,
luck, man. Time is luck.
It's like,
Time is
oh,
luck,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, they
actually thought
can't be together.
I actually thought the
because
romance
one's a
with
cop and the other it's the
what's her name? Naomi Harris was actually worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, that wasn't as big of a focus, so I guess I wasn't really thinking about that at all. But yeah, I guess I could see where you come from with that. Yeah,
I think
but
I've got two interesting points to branch off that. The Gong Li and Colin Farrell relationship. I think that might be the strongest relationship in any Michael Mann movie. I think that's the key right there. He's unlocked it there. That's something I think I've always
That's like
sort of
this.
been.
That should have been the center of the film.
I didn't even think they had that strong.
And it is sort of.
Well, it is though.
This is a hot take. I didn't think they had that great of a chemistry together. I didn't think they were that connected with each other. Honestly, I just felt like.
I think it comes full circle at the end.
Twice, and then they danced, and then that's it.
I think it comes full circle at the end when that big revelation comes when she finds out actually who he is, and you know you get that sort of, as we just previously touched on, the time is luck sort of thing on.
Yeah.
You
only have like so much time with someone, like keeping up like a false identity, basically.
Yeah. You know,
presenting a version of yourself.
The whole movie is essentially people. I can only imagine initially people were turned off from this back in 2006 because they were expecting sort of a buddy cop movie. When the movie really is, the center plot of the movie is Colin Farrell desperately trying to escape this life.
Yeah, for sure.
He is the lock focused. For me, out of Michael Mann's entire canon, he is my favorite Michael Mann protagonist. He's the most man, like, sort of.
He's the man.
He's the man. He's the ultimate Michael Mann character for me. Him, like, you know, talking to Gong Li, and Gong Li's asking him, like, you know, how fast does that boat go? And he goes, it goes very fast. And, you know, asking him where let's get a drink somewhere. He's like, well, what do you like to drink? You know,
mojitos.
the whole, I'm a fiend for mojitos.
For mojitos.
It's like the coolest shit.
Cool
it just
line.
drives me insane. I eat that
cool
shit
line.
up.
I was like, damn.
How
I'm
fast?
gonna use that line at some point.
Oh,
it's the best.
When I'm picking. Yeah.
And
I'm gonna use that line.
When they get to the it's such perfect. I go insane. Michael Mann dialogue of, like, you know, them watching the people dance, and she goes, "Do you dance?" And then he just looks at her with the Michael Mann look, and he just gives her the "I dance," and then they just dance for like 5. It's so good. It's the best. I eat that shit up.
It's funny you mentioned that because apparently
where he
Colin
says,
Farrell doesn't even like this
where
movie.
he says to the guy, "Do you want to fuck my partner?" Damn, what are you saying there, man?
Yeah,
What are you
exactly.
implying here?
The scene where sort of Jamie Foxx leads on what's going on with their relationship. He's like, "You're doing moves on the Colombian's wife." He's like, "We're doing moves on each other."
Yeah.
All that shit is like so good. I love all that. Standing on the nightclub rooftop, going, you know, that is the hand we've been dealt with at 11:47 p.m. on a Saturday night.
Yeah. I quite liked the bit where where
Yeah.
they're in they're trying to rescue the Naomi Harris, and that one random lady gets like the really cool line that like, what's gonna happen is like, I'm gonna shoot this bullet into your like into your cranium, and you will not even feel it. You'll be out before the pain is even registered, and your hand will not even be able
Yes.
to. Yeah, that's a really
That
great
was a
line
cool
just to give like a
scene,
random
yeah.
character, basically, like that they don't give it to like
Yeah, she's sporadically. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she's sporadically in the movie, and she gets some of the best,
yeah.
like sort of lines in the movie. Like Eddie Marson shows up doing like a really weird accent, like of a
Yeah.
southern sort of guy, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Why is
that
all
was, like,
this
really weird. That
bad
was,
shit happening to me?" And
Kieran
that
Hines.
same lady goes, "Cause you." Yeah, and he's like, "Cause you lead a life
Yeah.
of crime." She's like, "Don't do crime if you can't do the time."
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that's,
exactly.
I just love
Yeah.
all that shit.
It was honestly, it was funny. It's honestly at that moment where it's like, wow, this movie's called Miami Vice, but I feel like only like 2 people in this movie are like Americans, and the rest are just like Brits pretending to be Americans.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it does make me
Yeah.
laugh every time. Sort of, Colin Farrell obviously being Irish. Whenever he starts yelling in this movie, you can clearly hear the
Yeah,
Irish.
you can hear
come
the
through.
Irish coming through. Yeah.
oh, that was really that was really weird. Can I just say like that? There was this one particular scene where Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell are like confronting Kieran Hines or whatever, like when they first meet, and then Tubbs is like blah 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 blah, and then Colin Farrell is out of nowhere just like yells and
Yeah.
just like, what the fuck is
the
going
fuck
on?
is going on?
there, man?
What?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like what just like?
And there's another-
How do we go from like 1 to 11
There's
so quickly?
There's another
Yeah.
funny scene
So-
about 20 minutes after that where Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell are talking to Kieran Hines again, and then out of nowhere, Colin Farrell just tells Kieran Hines to go fuck himself.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, you need to chill out, man. You need to relax a little bit.
He was completely drugged out of his mind when he was making this movie, and it completely works for the character because he looks
Colin
like
Farrell?
complete shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Character
when he had
Colin
like a
Farrell?
Colin Farrell
like a
himself was
cocaine
completely
phase.
drugged
Yeah.
out while making this movie. There's interviews
Oh,
of him,
really?
and he does not remember a single thing about making this movie.
Isn't that why
And
he
it
said he didn't
completely
like
worked.
it?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mentioned. Yeah, apparently Colin Farrell does not like this movie at all. He doesn't have fond memories of it, and apparently Michael Mann himself has said like he didn't get to make the movie he wants because apparently
yeah.
the ending was like had
Yeah,
to be
'cause,
rewritten or like
apparently what
edited
the-
or
what the
something like
original
that. And
ending
it
was
really
was that it
shows
was
'cause,
gonna-
like the ending is like
it's
the
gonna- it
worst
was gonna
part
take
about the
place
movie
in
in my opinion.
Colombia,
I thought like
but,
the
like,
final shootout was just awful.
it was from a
So-
number of different reasons
Yeah,
too. It was
one of the rumors was like
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx just didn't want to go back out there, and so they just kind of hastily re-edited it or rewrote it into like this like
it was a
this
complete
parking lot
mess of a
based.
production.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can kind of feel that energy throughout, like
Yes.
kind of emanating throughout the film. That's why you get a lot of the handheld stuff. It's like, oh fuck, we got to get these like shots as quickly as possible. We're gonna do
Yeah.
like 12 setups a day, basically.
Hurricanes
Must
coming
be
in
where
and
the
out of the
sound-
production.
Oh really?
That must be why the sound design is so fucking awful too, because he was just like rushing that shit out. You know, he was
Yeah.
just like, "Fuck, we gotta crank this out." You know,
Yeah.
like it's like it. The first like half of this movie feels very well coordinated, but then the second half it just becomes like weirdly chaotic for some reason. And
Yeah.
at parts it does fit the movie and it works, but other times it's just like you're just shaking the camera because you wanted to, I guess, like or you had to. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I have a very specific like relationship with handheld and shaky. I can tolerate handheld cam, but I cannot tolerate shaky cam. And when it's in this movie, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, just hold the camera steady, please.
Please just get a
My
steady
God.
cam, like I beg you.
Just shoot this like a normal movie, Michael. Like, please.
No, because I think it completely removes from like the terseness of it. Because this is like I think the
I
way
think if
this
it
is
wasn't
is
shot in that
perfectly
style,
sort
I
of
think
taps into-
it would be much worse actually. But I think that's just kind of like the
Yeah.
very messy
I-
messy nature of it, where it's just like it's just like
Mm-hmm.
would it work either way? I
mean,
don't know.
To me, like I said, like that's the most interesting part. Like if this movie was shot like normally, then I would have been so bored. Like I would have been like there were many times throughout the film where I was like checking my runtime and I was like surely this movie should be over, and I checked the runtime, there was still an hour left and I was like, oh my god, like how is there still so much movie left? Like I was getting very impatient because like I said, this was like at most like a passive experience. I was not connecting with anything the movie was feeding me, like, narratively. I'm sorry. I know you love this movie, and I wish I connected with the movie, like, on a narrative level, but I was really not picking up anything the movie was throwing at me, like, because like I said, the most I got out of this film was the visuals and the technical stuff, and that was what I really paid attention to. But then at a certain point, I just kind of got bored of that, and I was just like, well, I guess there's still movie left. Let's just get this over with, I guess.
That's so funny.
I think
I had the complete opposite experience because I loved the like the very, of course, like the Michael Mann-ish dialogue, but I was just not sold on all the visuals at all. Like, and I liked all the performances.
So we were
and stuff.
bored, but for different reasons, basically.
Yeah,
Me and
pretty
Joe.
I think for me, they go hand in hand, both the visuals and sort of the contextual nature of it. Like, for example, I've always sort of, the scene that's stuck with me probably the most out of the whole movie is like sort of within the first 15 minutes, there's sort of like a scene with a CI that they're working with that gets leaked, and played by John Hawkes, who's like speeding down the highway. He's like, "Oh fuck, these white
Alonzo.
supremacists have got my wife. Alonzo, yeah." And it's sort of like,
Alonzo!
yeah, after getting some information, Alonzo like throws himself in front of a truck, and Michael Mann does some insane sort of cutting here with the editing, where you just see, like, after the truck passes, you see like a glimpse of like the streak of blood on the road, and immediately cuts to,
Yeah, that was very well edited. I really liked
Colin
that
Farrell
moment,
and Jamie
yeah.
Foxx just continuing the job. Like, that's, to me, is the perfect example of how the visuals marry up with the sort of contextual narrative of the movie, where, like, no matter what, it's just we just got to move on. It's just like, it doesn't stop for any bullshit, just like the job. You just got to carry on with it. And I think that's probably the best example I can get on how I think sort of the visuals and the story
I do like
marry up perfectly.
how we just kind of like, we're just really like thrown into it. Like, we're just like, these are the characters and this is what they're doing, basically. Like,
oh yeah, like I said, the movie just starts. It
Yeah.
doesn't open or
with
anything.
like the
Yeah, there's no, like,
Jay-Z,
setup at all.
Linkin
They
Park
just
thing.
be like, it's really like a trial by fire thing. They just, like, push you off the cliff
Yeah.
and be like, well, yeah, better have fun, fuckers,
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Colin Farrell
yeah, it
going
really
up to
is that
the-
kind of mentality.
Going up to that bartender, asking her where she got a tan, asking for 2 Bacardi mojitos.
But you got that
So
tan
good.
in Miami.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that
good.
was weird. I was just like, what are you implying, man?
Yeah. Colin Farrell's
Every
so
line
blacked out
has
in that movie.
has like
He
a
orders
double
2
meaning
mojitos.
almost.
It feels like it, but then other times it's just like, why did you say that, and why did you say it like that? There were a couple moments, like, in the film where the writing was just like, what? Like, I was just like, what?
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's always a weird thing
yeah.
with Michael Mann, because all of his sort of like, he's obsessed with the terseness and the realness of everything. Yeah, it still has dialogue that's very sort of lofty and
Cheesy.
and more thematic than what a normal person would say. So it's a weird
Luca,
mix.
did you have anything to say? I'm sorry, we're all kind of
I'm letting the
circle jerking
boys
each other
chat.
right now.
I'm letting
and
the boys chat about their
boys
boy
movie.
movie with guns.
yeah,
Sorry, Luca.
we're just bros,
Yeah.
We're chugging our beers and
Chugging
we're,
our mojitos.
we're wearing
You know,
our,
Yeah.
our mojitos, wearing our wife beaters. Yeah,
I
so-
didn't actually mind this movie, but it's a similar thing to Timmy, where I was kind of just like I was just passively liking it. Like, I wasn't really into it either. To put it simply, it's just not a Luca movie. Like, let's be real. It is just
Yes.
not a movie for me.
I mean, that's fair, but I feel like where I'm coming from is, in premise, this movie should be for me, kind of, because I do like Michael Mann's crime movies, and I guess this is another one of those, but it's like, just the way they went about it was just so uninteresting. It's like, there were times where I was like, damn, kind of wish I was watching, like, The Departed or something instead, like, because there were points where it kind of got, like, it kind of reminded me of The Departed, the whole, like, oh, the mole inside, thrusting into, like, the deep end or something like that, like, obviously not
This
the
movie's
same
better
movie,
than
but,
The
like, I kind of
Departed.
got similar vibes. Oh, no, I do not agree with that at all. The Departed is a much better movie than this one, so...
I will be honest though, I was shit scared knowing that the one, the only Timmy Lee was going to watch Miami Vice, because I was expecting you
know.
to hate this a lot more than you ended up. I was fucking
I
petrified.
feel like I got a gatekeep from Timmy.
What did you think? What did you think? What did you expect from me with this? Like, what were your expectations in terms of how I would react to this movie?
Because you...
Because apparently I'm such a boogeyman that like no one wants to share movies with me.
You're
I'm
almost
just
like
gonna shit on them.
you're almost like a myth. You're like an urban legend.
Yeah, and you just never know when I'm gonna strike. You never know what I'm gonna.
You never know when
'cause at
Timmy's
one
gonna.
moment it's being-
You never know when Timmy's gonna strike on your favorite movie. You're like a bedtime fable.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Like
Remember to
Mr.
finish your
Like
letterbox
the-
review, or else
Nightmare
Timmy
Before
Lee's gonna
Christmas.
come and get you.
Timmy's like the Pandora's box of like gatekeeping movies. Like if you want a
Yeah.
movie that you love, keep it in the box and
Yeah.
don't give it to
Yeah.
Timmy because
there's still like 1/10 of a chance I might like it. You know, like what
I'm
was the
not
last
willing to
movie
take
that
those
like
odds.
someone
The
recommended that I was like, oh hell
the
yeah,
problem
this is
that, like,
awesome. Yeah.
it's never like an extreme hatred. It's always just like in the middle. Like you were so close to liking
Oh,
it.
like
You're
mid.
So
Yeah.
close to liking it, but then it's like you either like it but not like you're not like fully into it, or like you're in the middle. That's like the worst like case, you know. Like
I felt bad. I felt
so
bad
you'd
giving
rather-
that 6 out
so
of 10
you're
because
saying
I
I'd
know,
rather
Jack, that
hate
you
a
were
movie-
probably hoping that I was gonna like it because you knew Timmy probably wasn't.
I was hoping I'd get one Vice Soldier out of the three of you.
I mean, you kind of got a Vice
So
Soldier.
you're saying
in
you'd
me,
rather,
but
you'd
it's just
rather
like I just
I'll
think
take
it's
it,
I'd
I'll
messy.
rather
take-
you would rather want me to hate a movie you really love than
Yes.
call it mid? Is that
Yes.
what you're?
That's
Is that what you're
exactly
saying? I
what
feel
I'm
like that's
saying.
weird.
Yeah.
I would rather have you
pick a lane, bro.
I would rather have you passionately
Yeah.
hate something that I love rather than saying it was just mid and it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Because,
guess I
like,
can
mid
understand that.
is,
So
like,
anyway,
something
yeah,
that
going
comes
back to
often
my
from
question.
You know? So it's like, you know, I don't want my movie to just be like another one of the mid movies that you see. You know, I'd rather you passionately love it and join the team, or passionately hate it and then yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you guys do that as well. Like every time I recommend a Satoshi Kon movie that isn't Perfect Blue, you guys are like, whatever. Like, and that's perfectly fine. It's not for everyone, you
Yeah.
know.
You
You
So
haven't recommended
anyway,
Paranoia
Jack,
Agent yet, don't you worry.
Or Millennium
Oh,
Actress.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I will at some point. But anyway, yeah. So Jack, going back to my first question. So, what did
Yeah.
you expect from me in terms of like, what did you think I would say about this movie or how I would feel about this movie? Because you seemed like you had a certain expectation for me.
Well,
about Miami Vice.
Your film is subjective. Let me start there. So what I'm about to
Start with the basics.
Glad we can step. Glad
I'm
we
just-
can set that.
I'm
in
just
the
buttering
ground.
myself up because
Yeah.
because this may be the first time you get someone to cry on the podcast. But I know your opinion on Black Hat, so I was really expecting a similar
I
thing
mean,
to
this
that.
wasn't as bad as Black Hat. I didn't like Black Hat like at all. There were like 2 or 3 scenes that I kind of liked in Black Hat, and then I liked literally nothing else about the movie.
Yeah.
This like,
And I was
offered
expecting
more,
that
like,
for
where I,
Vice.
like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm glad I could subvert your
That's where
expectations.
that's where I got some hope because I saw you very smartly you watched Collateral first to sort
Collateral,
of
yeah.
lead into Vice. I was like, okay, good. He's taken.
He knows what he's doing.
Doing the right thing. He knows that this guy's he's training. Yeah, he's
And
doing
then
the
I
montage.
just ended up disappointing you at the end.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, sorry.
You've
Yeah,
left me at the
so-
bar drinking my mojito by myself.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm glad I can at least live up to the expectations you set for me. You know, it's like you. This is what you expected.
2.5 stars. I'll take that any
yeah,
day.
So,
We're halfway
or
there.
unless you're Luca, where apparently it would be preferable if I hated Miami Vice instead of calling it.
No,
calling
Miami
it,
Vice, I
calling
don't
it
care
mid.
your opinion
So,
on, because
yeah.
it's not one of my favorite movies. But I would rather you give like I don't know,
Call me by
yeah,
your
I
name
would
like a
rather
1
you give
instead
it
of a 5 or
instead of a
something.
5 out of 10.
I actually
honestly.
like that movie though. Like it's like a 7 or 8, like in memory. I haven't seen it in a long while. So anyway,
I think
is there anything else we wanted to?
I think everyone
Oh,
gets.
yeah, sorry, Jack.
Sorry, no. I was just gonna say I think everyone gets a great line, or one or a few. The great John Ortiz plays Jose Euro,
some
which is just
reason
one of my
that,
favorite
like-
characters.
Yep.
that like
A great villain.
I can't fully remember the line, but it was something like about the Jamaican like model or something. Like, oh, you must be Miss Jamaica then. That really got me.
Yeah,
for some reason.
he's got so many great
Yeah, that
lines.
was really weird.
Just goes up to our two heroes at one point and goes, "I'm a disco guy."
Yeah.
All that sort of shit. There's a great bit at the end where he's got
literally
sort of
is
Gong
GTA,
Li
guys.
by hostage
This
and goes,
movie's
you know,
literally just GTA
we're a couple
5.
now. We're gonna watch a movie, grab a bite, all that sort of shit. I'm just like
that was
there.
so weird. I literally had to pause the movie and I would go like, what? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, that whole
Yeah.
scene too, where they first meet him at that sort of, it's a perfect comparison to me of like Return of the Jedi, where Colin Farrell pulls out the grenade just like Princess Leia does in Jabba's palace. He's holding a thermal detonator, that sort of shit. I love. He's like. Jamie Foxx is talking about, if we just start a shootout in here, the police are going to walk in here and go, all that blood on the wall, what is that, a Jackson Pollock?
Jackson
all that sort of
Pollock
shit
painting.
is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jose
And then he actually
Hero
splatters
asks,
him with
Colin
a
Farrell,
shotgun
he's like,
later on, which is a good payoff.
yeah, he makes him a Jackson Pollock at the end, which is perfect.
Yeah.
And
That
then
was pretty cool symbolism, and I didn't actually expect that going in because now that you mention it, because like I remember in Collateral, like Tom Cruise, like he was just like, remember there was this moment where like a guy died in the LA Metro or whatever, and then he just says it again. It's like, no, I got it, movie. You didn't have to tell me again. But this one, like now that you pointed it out, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. Like
mirroring.
foreshadowing. That was actually kind of cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
yeah, they meet at their first meet up, and Jose Euro's like goes, "Who the fuck knows you?" And we get this perfect. It's so dorky. This perfect like sort of pull in of Colin Farrell and just gives it the, oh, my mommy and daddy know me.
Yeah.
All that shit. I'm just obsessed with.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Yeah.
With a movie this serious and this sort of obsessed with the terseness, there are a few sort of moments of levity, like sort of, I don't know, Jamie Foxx pretending to come,
Yeah.
which is a thing that actually happens.
I forgot about that. Yeah. It's a fake out. It's a fake out dick spit, as I like to call it. You're talking to the guy who has mentioned hentai like a couple times on this
More
podcast.
than a couple
You
times.
know what to expect from me.
A couple of times an episode,
It's not
maybe.
that often. It's not that often. I literally, this is the only time I mentioned it today. I haven't mentioned
I
it.
wish we had like a
that
dedicated
often.
enough fan to like prove you wrong and just make like a super cut of all the times you've mentioned.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like 3
Hey,
hours
if there's
long.
anyone watching this, if there's anyone watching this episode that wants to make that, I will gladly watch it and I will gladly
Yeah.
like it and share it. Okay, so go ahead and do it. You're not gonna find it. So, yeah, I like I said, I didn't really. Jack, if you want to keep like gushing about, because I know you love this film, I've kind of said everything I needed to say. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, it was just kind of a passive experience. I was checking my watch like a couple times, just like, all right, let's kind of wrap this up. I'm already done with the movie, emotionally, and like it is. Like I said, I'm gonna keep mentioning it. I did like the cinematography. I will agree with you on that, but it's like once that gimmick was like stretched its welcome. Well, let me say that I mixed up the saying. Once it stayed past its welcome, I was just like, all right, I guess I got 40 minutes of movie left. Let's just speed run this through. Yeah,
I'd be interested to see if you got more out of the director's cut, because it is, while it may be a turn off for you.
How different is the director's cut from the theatrical cut?
Well, it fleshes out
Like-
a lot of the Gong Li Colin Farrell romance much more.
Okay.
And it doesn't, which I don't like about the director's cut, is that it doesn't open on the Numb Encore sort of nightclub scene. It opens on sort of a boat race that sort of sets up the exchange at the nightclub. So it's like 5 minutes of like
Wait.
opening, yeah, and then it's like sort of Colin Farrell
That's
and
how
Jamie.
my movie started. That's the director's cut? I thought I was watching the theatrical cut. Wait, hold on. So wait, the director's cut you're saying opens with like high-speed boats
That's the
chases or
director's.
whatever, and like you
Yes.
see that's the director's
Yes.
cut? Okay, then I guess I saw the director's cut.
Okay.
I thought
Well, I think
the whole time I thought I was watching the
the theatrical
yeah.
cut literally opens on the silhouette of the woman
nightclub.
dancing to the needle drop of
okay.
Encore. Yes. It's a much
Okay.
much better opening
Alright.
because it literally just drops you straight
Okay, then I
into
guess
the
I
movie.
watched the director's cut without me realizing. Like I said, I just watched whatever was on Amazon Prime. So that's good
I
to know.
also had
So.
the opening with the boat.
That's interesting. Yeah. See, I don't think
I
I think
didn't
it's
have that.
I think it's that
I had the
yeah. See, I
had the
don't. I think
theatrical
it's hard for Australia. Us Australians, we get robbed with these sort of releases.
know,
It sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, while I think the opening of the director's cut is gorgeous with sort of that boat race, I don't think it belongs in the movie. I much
Yeah, that
prefer
sounds
just sort
that
of
sounds a bit weird.
the immediate sort of drop in that the
Then who knows
theatrical-
then? Like maybe because you even said it yourself that like you don't think the director's cut is as strong as the theatrical cut. Then yeah, who knows? Maybe I might like the movie more if I watched the theatrical cut.
It'd be interesting.
Next time.
It'd be interesting to sort of
instead.
compare the two.
It must
back to
be
back.
like an automatic thing because I know like there's technically like a theatrical cut of like Heat, but like everyone like whenever they watch the movie, it's always the director's cut that people are watching with Heat.
I think
right?
that they're just like
Or-
buzzwords. I think there's no actual sort
Okay.
of actual proper director's cut of Heat.
Not that I
Yeah,
know.
I mean at least it's not like a. It's not like a handmade and extended cut where they didn't even bother calling it the director's cut because I was like Park Chan-wook didn't approve of this shit, like it's like
Right.
so yeah but yeah
Yeah.
I mean I don't have much else to say unless you guys have anything else you wanted to add, especially from Jack since you like this movie a little bit more than us. So,
Yeah, I completely agree with some of the flaws that you guys have presented. I was actually kind of surprised with sort of the agreements upon with the sort of the soundscape the movie has with the shootouts in particular. I wasn't aware on sort of the drastic change between something like this and Heat. But I will have to sort of actually in retrospect go back and sort of listen to them back to back and see if I can pick up on that.
they're
I
very
think
different.
it's because I saw Collateral like so soon that like the sound design in particular like stood out to me. Maybe
Yeah.
like if I hadn't seen
I was watching
Collateral
the bank
like
robbery
beforehand,
scene from
maybe I
Heat
wouldn't
the
have
other day
noticed
as well.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I think there's bits to it that hasn't aged well. Like the most like the obvious one is like the explosion that like destroys like the trailer and like almost kills Naomi Harris. I think that
That's the most insane
Yeah, that was
shit.
Yeah.
awful. That was
that's a
awful.
funny
Like,
bit,
the
but it's
CG
just like
that they used was
yeah,
genuinely awful.
that is not aged very well.
That leads
And also a lot
into
of
one of
the
the most
needle drops just
unintentional laughs.
it's a silly. It's not even a criticism, but a lot of the needle drops
it's
are
so
just
good.
like yeah, they're just
That
like very
explosion-
they're very of their time.
Yes. That explosion leads into one of the most unintentional laughs of the entire
I know,
movie. That's
I
where
know.
they're at the hospital and the doctor's talking about all these fucked up things wrong with this woman, and then he ends it on with like, it's the brain swelling that really worries me. Like,
Yeah,
fuck, okay, you
yeah.
just listed 100 other things that's
Like he
fucking
just
wrong
like
with this woman.
her lung is collapsed.
Glad you
it's just
yeah.
it's a very
glad you ended on a high note there.
yeah. We've had to remove her face. She's only got one arm. We've put her in
Yeah,
a Darth
she became
Vader costume.
Two-Face at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, she became Two-Face. Yeah, the needle drops in this one were so fucking annoying. They were they only the movie was for the most part shot kind of like a music video, but it only became a distraction for me when like they started playing the most like early 2000s ass like rock music ass shit, and it's just like
Yeah,
what
JC,
the like
Linkin Park.
Jesus, it's yeah, but I also understand that like it's just something of the time. Like like fucking Spider-Man had that shit. You're just never gonna get away from that.
At the end of the day, none of it matters because they've got to take it to the limit one more time.
Yeah, exactly.
push it to the limit, baby. Yeah. That was also in GTA 2. Like the Scarface like influences on GTA is just so apparent.
Absolutely.
But yeah. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I've said everything I wanted to say. I guess we can get into ratings now,
yeah.
unless anyone else wants to say anything else.
This is a case for me where I'm done for now, but I know in about 5 minutes time after.
Yeah,
I'm
you're just
like,
gonna
fuck.
I got another one. Yeah.
You'll come up with like 6 other things you wanted to say. Yeah.
I think
Actually, I will bring up one more point, and it's
okay.
very.
Okay.
This is my last point, I promise, because I'll just start
Alright,
dribbling
go
on
ahead.
about this. You got to cut me off at one point. This is a very personal point. It's extremely embarrassing. First, this is a Jack Siddle exclusive. I love this movie so much that my mustache had come from Colin Farrell in this movie. That is 100% true. I've never told anyone that, but I thought I'd dish
Damn,
out that
Far Off
exclusive.
Films
for Far Off
exclusive.
Films.
You heard it.
Yeah, you heard it here
I
first.
love
You
this
heard it here,
movie so
folks.
much.
Yeah.
I embodied my own personal look after this movie. I'm all
We gotta
about
break the story.
the
we gotta
mojito
get on this
lifestyle,
before
baby.
Screen Rant. Yeah, we gotta get on this before Screen Rant gets a hold of this
Yeah,
shit.
IGN's
Don't
going
fucking
to be
leave this
all
to
over your
Polygon,
ass.
Timmy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I will. Oh. Yeah, anyway, 5 out of 10. I think that's the most positive rating I can give it. I I was like, maybe I should just give this a 6, just, to not make Jack cry. But there was just so much
Yeah.
bullshit that was happening that I was just like, this is the best that I can do. A 5 is the best I can do. So
Yeah, I mean, I as I said before, it's messy, but I do quite enjoy it, even though I think it looks like shit visually.
did you give a rating?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
6 out of
cool.
10.
Sorry, I just whipped out the Jack Settle Instagram just to get a look at that stash that Jack was describing.
Follow me, girl. What are you doing?
I am
Hit
followed.
that follow button.
I am
Yeah, you've
followed.
seen
I
it
didn't
too.
follow you.
No, I
What the fuck?
followed.
I didn't even know you
Yeah.
had one. I'm gonna follow right after
Oh
this
my
recording.
God.
Yeah, drop your Instagram link. Yeah, once you're
I got
we're
it
done with
right
this,
here. I'll drop it right now. Yeah.
Oh my god, you actually do. It's right there in front of me.
I said I was
That's
looking.
my fucking dumb face.
It was a very kind of passive watch for me. I genuinely think that this is just GTA the movie. I wish I was playing this instead of watching it. But hey, it was fun, but it was also dumb. So 2.5 stars somewhere there.
That is a banger
really
fire.
not my thing.
We'll drink
Really
10
not my
beers
thing,
and watch
bro.
Titanic.
just give it a 10 out of 10 and let's move on.
Yeah, let's fucking go home. Come on, this is it. 10 out of 10 mojitos. This is it. 10 out of 10 go fast boats to Cuba. I can't believe we didn't
10 out
even
of
touch
10.
on that scene with Colin Farrell and Gong Li driving to Cuba in that expansive sea that they're driving on. See, this is what I mean. You got to cut me off because I'm just going to start remembering scenes and just dribble on about them.
Just get to your final thoughts and ratings, man. Yeah.
10 out of 10, just I don't have anything more to add. It's just genuinely it makes my top 10 movies of all time, if not my top 5. I just love this movie so much.
I will say I am thankful for this movie for giving me that line that I'm a feed for mojitos, because I'm definitely going to use that line at
So
some
good.
point
Well,
in
that's
a
from the
real
TV
life
show,
setting
isn't
one
it?
day.
So
So,
Or did he write that for the
I
movie?
think so.
Oh, really? Oh.
I think that's for the movie.
Ah. Damn.
okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But is mojitos a thing that he likes from the show? Is that
I
something
don't think. I think it was
he-
just a weird. No, because what happened was, it's so fucking sad that I know this is a fact. Is that Bacardi, the brand, who makes mojitos, had sort of a contract with the movie, so. That's why specifically if you go back and listen, Colin Farrell exclusively orders 2 Bacardi mojitos, because the reason he ordered that is because someone had to get paid. There was a contract involved. He looked
so
right
it
in
was-
the camera.
It was a weird form of product
Oh, that's
placement.
great.
then.
And even
Okay.
when Gong
I
Li
didn't know
later
if I
asked
realized.
him how are the mojitos, he goes, the mojitos
Yeah,
are
well,
great.
I'm glad I gave you the chance to scratch that itch.
Thank you
I
so
figured,
much.
I figured you wouldn't be interested if I recommended fucking hentai movie number 675 anyway, so which is why I let you pick
Second
whatever
mention
I
of
was going to
hentai in this
recommend. So I'm
episode.
glad I gave you the second one. Yeah, I'm glad I gave you that outlet. So yeah,
Thank you, Timmy.
So for Luca and Jules, so which one out of the man movies that we've talked about on this podcast, which one would you rewatch first? This one or
Thief.
What was the one? Thief. Yeah, that was
I'd
it.
rather watch
yeah.
Thief.
Thief. Okay.
Love me some James Caan.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
Thief is fucking
I
excellent.
would also think I would prefer Thief.
Thief is
Actually,
very good.
hold on. I mentioned that I might not recommend another Michael Mann movie, but that's actually not true, because I am kind of interested in watching The Insider. I heard that one was good. I've never seen that one. There's
Is
a
that the only one that he ever
handful
got
of,
nominated
Michael
for
Mann
Best
movies
Director
I
for?
haven't seen.
Yes.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Did he not go
even
for Ali?
Last of the Mohicans?
No, not Last of the Mohicans.
No, Will Smith got nominated for Ali for Best Actor, I think.
Oh yeah, that was in their 5 movies.
Which that would
Yeah.
be an interesting watch as well, because I've never seen Ali either, and I guess that could be an interesting watch one day.
Ali is good
I guess,
too, yeah.
Jules, it's now your turn to
we're
recommend
not doing
something
questions?
for next episode.
Or did you?
I mean, if you want, but I feel like we've been talking
Did
for
you
an
not
hour.
get- did you
I
not
had
get
questions, but I feel like...
let's go.
Questions, yeah.
Fuck it. Let's go.
Okay.
Come on. I
15
want to answer
minutes.
some fucking
Let's
All
questions.
right,
Shit.
let's speed run through these. Okay, so the first question is from Matthias, who asks, "What's your current movie, White Whale? A movie or physical media that is difficult to find or too expensive?"
That's a good question.
That is a good
Safe
question.
criteria.
I
like that
I
question.
kind of have an answer to it, but it's not technically like an appropriate answer because this has nothing to do with like price or like like trying to find a copy of it. It's more just like the film itself is like a white whale where it's like I don't think I could ever find the time to sit through it, and that's Satan Tango, I think it's called. Like the movie's like 5 hours long, and I don't think I ever could conceive of a moment where I would have the time to watch it. But I would like to watch
I'm
it at some
considering
point. But it's
watching
just
it like
like
an
a white
hour
whale
per
type.
day
Like,
for like 7
I
days.
guess, but I feel like
I watched
I
it.
don't really want to break up movies like that.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
Luke is the
So,
only one that's actually seen
Oh
it.
yeah, I guess so. How was it?
It was really fucking boring, and it was also really
assumed
fucking
as much.
great at the same time.
No, okay.
It's one of those.
But yeah, but movies, yeah, White Whale. I don't know if I have an answer to this.
I'd say Harmony Korine's films, because a lot of them like don't really have like, especially his earlier ones like Gummo and like Julian Donkey Boy. You gotta descend into like the darkest depths of like eBay and places to like find like the
Dig through the rubble for that shit.
yeah. You gotta like really like dig through that shit. I found a yeah, because they're all like mostly like 360p, 480p copies like that are
Yeah.
some of the, I think there's like VHS copies of Gummo for like when kids floating around out there. So yeah, his films, especially like Trash Humpers, that was a really hard one to find for
Yeah.
me. I
Yeah.
don't own any of his films physically, even though I'd like to. But you can find a lot of shit just in like DVD stores, like and on just going to flea markets and $2 stores. I found the film, one of my favorite kind of bad like B films, Raise the Titanic. I found that a few weeks ago, which I thought I would never find, even though I wanted a physical copy. So I guess I have that now. So that was like one of my white whales, I guess, that I now have.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, just lots of like
Yeah.
indie
I
kind
don't-
of filmmakers,
again, I agree.
like just people whose shit's
Yeah.
hard to find, like just kind of lots of exploitation movies,
yeah,
I guess.
Hold on, let me just look up movies that are hard.
Nah, but I
to
feel
find,
like
and
it's
then
gotta
let's
be
see what I
something
can
you're
do.
actively searching for. Like, I think
I've been
that's what the
searching
question
for a
was.
copy of Man with the Movie Camera for a while, like an Australian version, but I can't find it.
Like, if you just search movies
I mean,
that are
yeah,
hard
I
to
get-
find, like, that's like anyone's white whale. Like, you know, it's gotta be.
You know what is a
Yeah,
white
I
whale for me
guess.
though?
And then I guess I don't really have
Fucking
a real.
Phantom Thread, because
What?
that shit has never been restocked at any JB
Why?
Hi-Fi, at least
You know
not in
what's,
Melbourne. Like,
You know what's a white
and
whale for me?
I've been trying to find a copy.
It's my
What?
motherfucking fantastic Mr. Fox Blu-ray, Criterion Blu-ray. I ordered that shit like 5 years ago, and it has been lost. Like, it is somewhere in the.
Did you get a refund?
depths of like South Africa. I didn't get a refund because it's still in transit. I still
That's
get
fucked.
notifications on my phone saying your packages like blah 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 blah, and it's like, bitch, just like, what do you mean? My
Is it floating
packages have
across the
been, like-
ocean on its own?
Yeah, it's literally like it's like in a glass bottle
On a little raft.
Yeah, on a raft. Like,
Glass
yeah,
bottle.
oh my god.
Maybe it got castawayed, you know, because like the person, like the person who ordered that volleyball in Castaway is just never gonna get that shit ever.
Yeah,
you know, it's
yeah.
just stuck with Tom Hanks forever.
Tom Hanks and
know,
his
but,
copy
like,
of
yeah.
Fantastic
but, like-
Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
A volleyball is easier to get than a Criterion Blu-ray of Fantastic Mr. Fox. Okay, I can't just.
Especially
drop,
'cause Criterion's
600
overpriced
rand.
as
Well, they
shit.
know that like they have no other competition, so they can price it
600
like an
grand
absurd like
on Fantastic
price.
Mr.
Cow
Fox.
to him.
Yeah,
Yeah, 600.
you have
rand,
200 bucks.
So that's
well,
like.
you can.
Oh, I think you said 600 grand. I was like, what the
You got
fuck kind of
200
prices were you paying?
No,
You spent
no.
600
they're not
grand
that
on
expensive,
Fantastic
you
Mr.
know.
Fox?
Worth it.
Okay, so 600 rand is like $30.
Yeah, because I just remember like I found this like 5 movie pack like Bruce Lee movies that I was like, oh, this would be sick. I would love this. But then I checked the price and it was like $100 or something. And I was like, Jesus, like I don't think I have $100 lying around. So I don't have an answer to this. So yeah, if you guys have answers, yeah.
I was gonna say Australia's in desperate need of some sort of re-release of. I've been searching for the longest time of like a really nice, good box set of a lot of the old Godzilla films.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Criterion has an incredible box set, and I'm so fucking jealous, and I need
'cause you
that.
don't
I
get
want
them.
that because I need
Fuck
to
Criterion, honestly.
tap into my kaiju mode. Yeah, because I am desperately in need of doing a massive run through of those old films, and I really want to get.
Do you
started on
know?
those.
Would you know
So
the
that's
the
probably
kind
my
of
answer.
the physical media places here, like the companies? So we have Imprint and we have Umbrella that are both like
Imprint's good.
Yeah,
Umbrella. Yeah.
Umbrella's really great as well. They've been putting out some great shit lately.
They've been
Coincidentally, they put
really
out
good releases,
coincidentally they put out Trash Humpers, so I might get it.
and kids too. I think.
Yeah, they put out Kids.
I think I was at JB today, and I think I saw a really nice release
of Kids. Yeah, I never thought I would
which
see
is
that.
a
at
very
JB
weird
Hi-Fi.
sentence. Please don't take out of context.
Never thought I'd see that at JB Hi-Fi.
Yeah, I just want to say
Yeah,
that,
I'm gonna
like,
someone clip that.
in South Africa, like, I guess everything's kind of a white whale because we have just stopped DVD production and Blu-ray for a number of years. Ever since like
damn.
2018, 2019, there's no DVD stores.
Australia's getting-
There's no movie stores. There's no rental DVD stores anywhere. There's like nothing. The only place you can buy
Rental DVD stores
stuff-
are all
That
dead.
sucks.
Yeah, but the only place you can buy stuff is online, like this kind of thing. There was like one last like DVD like physical game store. It was like a combination of the two, and then COVID wiped it out. So like yeah, there's pretty much nothing.
Yeah,
anymore.
COVID was like the last like nail to the coffin for a lot of those
Yeah.
like DVD rental stores because I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
there were at least
There
like
was a
a
few.
handful of those left near my community. But once COVID came about,
They
they
were
were
just wiped out.
They were just
Right.
gone afterwards.
There's like
Yeah.
2 ones in Melbourne that like I go to.
One more question, I guess. We have 2, but it's
Do
depending
it.
on.
Let's go.
Have-
you guys
have-
Run it
wanna-
back.
Yeah.
Fuck
Go,
it.
Go.
Fuck
we
it.
gotta speed
Let's
it.
go.
Okay. All right. Second question from Cole. What is a movie you regret not seeing in theaters? I already have an answer to this, so I'm just
Oh.
going to make this quick. Godzilla -1. I didn't get the chance to see it in theaters, and I regret it. I wish I saw it in theaters. My bad. Sorry.
Wait, are there?
Yeah.
Is this a film that has to be released within our time of being able to see movies in the
I
theater?
think so.
I don't know. That's just
I
all the
think that's
question
part of
said.
the
And I just answered
I,
with like
Are we going to limit it
Yeah.
to that?
Yeah.
It has to be of.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
want,
I
you
regret
can-
not seeing.
You can answer it however
okay.
you want. It doesn't matter.
I regret not seeing Top Gun Maverick and Babylon in the theater. I just kind of
Not
never
seen
got
Top
around
Gun
to it. and I was
Maverick in a theater.
I don't.
I did not see Top Gun Maverick. I
was
watched
gonna
that on
say, I
my
think you missed
TV
Top
at
Gun.
home for the first time.
Yeah, same. I
Watch it on
also
your phone.
actually kind of regret not seeing Top Gun in a theater.
Yeah, I just kind of got lazy. I didn't get around to it. Same with Babylon, and I wish I did. That's why I didn't watch the film till like a few months ago.
Mine was just due. If it was released in the theaters, I would be going every day that I'd be alive at the year it came out. But just since due to Australia distribution, we got fucked over. I'd be going hands down to Uncut Gems. But
Yeah. Oh my fucking god. Yeah. That was.
that
yeah.
ended
I
up
still
just
get. I
being
still
like,
get mad
that's just
about
one of my
that.
favorite movies in general. Yeah, that just was a straight to Netflix
was-
thing for
that was
us, but that's
fucking-
just
I was
ended
so
up being
mad.
one of my favorite movies in general. Yeah, so I would pay good money for getting a good release of Uncut Gems in theaters here.
Apparently they're re-releasing it
fact,
in theaters, so maybe you might get a
Yeah, apparently it's
chance.
getting an IMAX re-release or something.
Damn,
so,
that's exciting.
Fun fact: Uncut Gems was the first ever early screening that I attended as at the start of my quote-unquote career.
That's
as
very
a
cool.
Critic,
Nice.
reviewer, art person. Yeah, so
Was it a
it was the
prestigious
first ever
screening?
movie. No, it was just like an AMC. But the Safdie brothers did show up to like talk about the
Oh,
movie
well, that-
afterwards.
that's
so that was really cool.
prestigious.
That's cool.
In my mind,
Yeah,
at
like
least.
that.
well, I saw, and I was like very, I was like, it was probably with like my second or third assignment as like a art critic for my school newspaper. They were like, "Hey, you want to see Uncut Gems?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I guess so. Might as well."
Did you ask the Safdies what they
but the
think of
Uber-
hentai?
Unfortunately, I did not have the chance to ask them questions because I missed the date, the time and date where I could attend the Q&A because I had class during that time.
Oh fuck
so there was
that!
no
You
way I
should have
could
gone to the
attend, so-
Q&A.
Yeah.
Fuck your
Oh, well.
class.
So, but yeah, since then I've gotten the chance to interview some cool people. I got to interview Judd Apatow for his movie, the one with Pete Davidson. I didn't like the movie all that much, but me asking him a question, that was kind of cool. I met the cast of Mid '90s when that got like an early screening at like my school. This was before I became like I started writing about movies and stuff, but I got
So
to
Jonah
attend
Hill.
like a early screening that my school sponsored. Yeah. Jonah Hill was there as well. I think it was like
Dude,
so long
Tammy's
ago.
got
I'm trying to
clout.
remember.
What the fuck?
So,
Yeah,
but it
look
all
at
went
this.
down from there. I haven't attended anything like that since. I that's where I peaked. So, oh wait, no, I was in the same room as fucking what's her name, Jackie Brown,
Oh, Pam
actress.
Grier?
What was her name?
Oh,
Pam
yeah.
Grier.
Yeah, I remember you
Pam
talking
Grier,
about
yeah.
that.
I was in the same room as Pam Grier, and I was telling you guys, like, I kind of wanted to say hi and, like, get a picture, but then I was like, I don't want to be that guy, so I was just, like, I was comfortable with the fact that I was just in the same room as Pam Grier one time. So,
That's very cool.
Have you seen
I haven't
Coffee?
seen movies in general,
Yes.
dude. Like, you should get with the program at this point. All right, last question, I guess. Unless someone had an answer. Wait, did I? Yeah, everyone had an answer,
Yeah.
right?
I
Or,
didn't have an answer.
Oh, you didn't?
Oh, sorry, Luca.
No,
Go ahead.
I can't really think of an answer though, because I think in South Africa, like I get lucky when something that I want to watch comes to cinemas anyway, so I'm like always making
Yeah,
sure
May,
that I
December.
do it. But
Yeah.
some stuff that I do regret is I guess like some film festival stuff where like the filmmakers attended. Last year, I can't remember if it was the Encounters or if it was the European Film Festival, but there was a film that was playing that the filmmaker attended that I didn't go to, and I was quite upset about that because
What film was
that
it?
would have been cool. I think it was a film called Goodbye Julia or something.
Oh, I've heard of that, yeah.
But
Okay.
also
That's
there
cool.
there has been films that I have attended that the filmmakers were there for that I'm grateful for, and also I in 2019 they were playing Parasite in black and white in cinemas, and I didn't
That'd be
watch that, but I
Oh.
That's epic.
I regret not
Oh.
watching it, because it would have been really cool. I could imagine it was like a limited.
Those black and white re-releases are huge.
Yeah, I know.
Have you seen Jack, have you seen the Mad Max black and
I did.
chrome?
Yes. That was at
Awesome.
my peak of high school, sort of being an absolute dickhead about movies. Going, oh, this is absolute pretentious shit. But no, it does. I was such a
It's better because it's black and white.
I was such a dipshit in high school about movies. But no, in retrospect, I
still
think
am.
it does
Don't
look just
worry.
equally as
We all
gorgeous.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all went through that phase.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I guess we kind of are still in that phase, but
You still are.
what are you gonna do? Yeah, I'm still stuck in the dark ages.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Mad Max re-release is really nice.
Do you really want to do this one last question? I feel like, because Luca, you got to go to
Yeah, you got it.
Boy and the Heron. How do you live? Right?
How
soon?
quick is this a beefy question or is it an easy one?
It's a
Okay, if
beefy
it's
question.
a
we'll
beefy
save it then.
question, then we gotta
so-
leave it. Yeah, because I do have to go. Really
Okay,
soon.
all right.
Yeah.
Next time.
Okay, so
All right, yeah, Jules, and plus we've been recording for 3 hours.
Have
and
we?
This is a new record because I didn't think.
we're
Are
at
you
2 hours,
serious?
59 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, according
God.
to my recording.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're close to 3 hours.
2
so
hours,
yeah.
59 minutes.
Yeah,
I can
let's go.
stretch this out one more minute. Yeah, 10 more seconds anyway.
And
okay.
today I am
Okay.
going to be recommending.
Yeah. So Jules, it's your turn. So tell us what we're gonna watch next time.
The movie we are going to be watching is a film by one of my favorite directors that I've been meaning to recommend since the very, very first episode. And you know, it's one of my
Okay.
it's a favorite of mine, made by someone who made something in my top 4. So I think it's finally time. This is a film by Peter Jackson.
Oh shit.
Okay, I know what this is.
What do you think
Is
it
it
is?
Brain Dead, Dead Alive?
Nope, we are talking about Heavenly Creatures from 1994. directed by Peter
Ooh.
Jackson.
Oh,
The
okay.
film debut of Kate Winslet.
Okay.
That he was nominated for Best Original Screenplay for. And yeah, it is perhaps his most underrated film, maybe his most mature film he's ever made. Very, very disturbing in parts, like genuinely very disturbing, not in like a gory kind of brain dead way. And yeah, I do like this film a lot. So yeah, if you do not want to be spoiled for Heavenly Creatures, 1994, directed by Peter Jackson, watch it before the next episode because
Fuck
we're gonna
yeah.
spoil the shit out of it.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this isn't a bad pick. At least you didn't pick like some shit like The Lovely Bones or whatever. That would have fucking sucked.
I was
would've
expecting
hated
some
that,
King
so.
Kong there.
Oh, that'll be coming. Don't worry. It'll be
yeah, I
either me
guess
or
I was
Luca
kind of
that'll do that.
expecting
King Kong's
Kong,
like
yeah.
surely his best movie. I was like expecting some Kong love there. I was like, come on,
Well,
Jules.
you know what my
Come through
favorite
with the
movie
monkey
is,
magic.
I am
so...
kind of. Yeah, I am kind of bummed you didn't do Brain Dead Dead Alive. That would have been a great pick, but but that can
Well,
be for another
more
time,
people have seen
so,
that than
and I
Heavenly
haven't
Creatures,
seen.
so...
No, yeah,
Okay.
I like that.
I haven't seen
Jules did.
Fright-
It's kind of like an underrated pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, Jules.
I haven't seen Frighteners either. Is that worth watching?
That one has
Or-
that one's good. It has its moments. It's got the guy from Full Metal Jacket in
Alright.
it. There's like a ghost drill sergeant in a
Oh,
graveyard.
really? That's kind of funny. Well, yeah, great pick. Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. This will be my first time seeing it. Am
I the only one who's seen
I'll
it?
keep in mind what Lucas said. I've never seen it. No,
I have not seen it.
Hell yeah.
but
Good.
yeah, I'll take Lucas' advice and just give it a 1 out of 10 if I'm feeling kind of midish today. On that. So,
Great. All right.
yeah.
We are capping this episode off.
Well, thank you, Jack, for thank you, Jack, for coming on the podcast once again. You are amazing. You're the best. Just gonna keep kissing your ass
Yeah,
and
top five.
Please,
be
please.
Top five
I'm
Aussies
holding,
ever.
I'm holding out my hand for you to kiss
you
it.
don't
and
know,
I'm,
you can't. Yeah, I am kissing your ring so hard you can't even imagine right now.
you're tapping me back into my
um,
high school pretentious days.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to plug? I know you have a lot of things to plug, so just go ahead.
No, I thank you so much to you three. I love you three very much.
Oh, thank
and
you.
This has been
Aw.
just like last time, an amazing experience talking some fantastic movies with you. And I'm you could ask me again to come on tomorrow, and I'll be there.
yeah.
So I'm very keen to do this again when you want to have me on. So, but in terms of anything, I want to plug No Intermissions is my double feature podcast where I pair two unlikely movies and sort of by the end, after a back-to-back discussion, me and my guest try and sort of find a connecting thematic tissue from any sort of avenue we can pull from. I recently had Timmy on, where we paired, for an example, we did Curse of the Black Pearl and we did The Raid. I've already planned an episode to have all three of these lovely people on, because I just love talking movies with them so much. So that's in the works. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just please go listen to my podcast because it'd mean the world.
Yes. And it's awesome as well.
Yeah, the podcast peaks at episode 2, and then just kind of goes downhill from there. And I can.
I'm very
that's
proud
my
of that raid
opinion.
discussion. Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
and obviously Letterbox and Twitter and Instagram, all that sort of stuff. Just Jaxidle, I
Whole
believe
shebang.
it is. If you guys,
shebang.
I don't know if you guys put it in the bio or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
we'll put
we
it
will.
in once we actually get to the. We'll put it in once we finish editing this video by 2030 something. Something. So.
No, but go follow me. Go listen to the pod. It'd mean the world. So thank you.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, I guess that's it. Thank you. Another day, another dollar. Another one bites the dust. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.